The episode you're about to listen to was originally recorded in November and December 2010. The subject of this episode is conspiracies, and in it, we interview the blogger behind the controversial website crazyfuckingconspiracies.com. Before we had time to edit and produce the episode, we were contacted by the FBI, and at their request, surrendered to them our hard drive and audio files. Around that same time, Crazy Fucking Conspiracies made its last post to date, December 8th, 2010. We've had no further contact from the man behind Crazy Fucking Conspiracies, and had heard nothing from the FBI until June 2012. Until then, we'd presume this episode was lost. The files were returned to us, and we were told that we were at long last free to produce and release the episode. However, whereas we'd given the agents our raw Audacity files, we were returned exported WAV files. Some of the tracks were compressed on top of each other, some unsalvageably so. In many cases, artifacts of audio that is not ours can also be heard. We've pieced together the best possible representation of the original episode from what we have left, including our Crazy Fucking Conspiracies interview. In many ways, we're as in the dark as when we started, but if this experience has taught us anything, it's to never stop looking for the truth. We're pleased to finally present to you Nerdy Show, Declassified.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this highly classified episode of Nerdy Show.
X-Files theme music. Really bad opening credits that they never changed after 7 years.
They did change at 7 years, though, and they brought in the supporting cast members minus David Duchovny, and everybody got really upset even though the show was still good.
Hi.
Believe.
Hi, I'm Redacted.
And I am...
I'm sorry, is that, like, where your penis inverts?
No,
that's a direction. It's like a scared turtle. It goes back in.
No, it's like I'm redacted, like my name is just blacked out. Like,
Do you mean retracted?
Ah.
No! Get it!
Do you mean re-blacked it?
Dude, I'm getting a direction. Alright, you guys are freaking me out. I've gone
Hex, if
scared
it's any
turtle.
consolation, I liked it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I did also.
Are we supposed to have code names?
Why you said my name? Damn it!
Anytime, it has to be like in Kill Bill. Anytime one of us says one of our names, we have to go beep.
Yeah, we could just use our normal names, then you'd have to put a beep in every time.
That'd be annoying.
Well, then, I'm... Aww.
It would only really be in the intro.
I'm Triforce.
I'm Sandra.
I'm no one.
And I am Hex. And what we listened to as our opening was from last year's Mashed and Slashed Halloween compilation. That was the Buttercup Files, where it's the X-Files theme mashed up with Buttercup.
Yeah, and it's not just the X-Files theme, actually. It's the X-Files theme DJ Dotto remix. That's the one on Pure Moods, guys. That's the best-selling compilation of all time.
All time.
Direct from Europe, this multi-platinum collection has won the hearts of millions.
All time.
And if
still?
it's gotta be. I mean, it's Pure Moods. And if you remember during the television commercials for Pure Moods, because you didn't used to be able to buy in stores, you had to order it on the phone with a credit card.
Yep.
It would play. I think there was a picture of a pyramid with some really fast-moving clouds behind it and some lightning shooting down. It said,
I remember
X-Files theme by DJ Dotto.
Yeah.
Take a trip into the unknown with the X-Files theme.
Man.
I don't know anything.
I bought the hell out of that album.
And I just...
I'll take 5!
I was just plagued by it every time I'd be watching the Sci-Fi Channel until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Also, Miss Cleo...
There's Pure Moods, there's Celtic Moods,
Yes.
Instrumental Moods, Christmas Moods, Pure Moods 2, Scottish Moods.
Scottish movies.
Are you on Amazon, or are you looking through your personal discography? Because this is actually very similar to my personal discography.
I plead the fifth.
Does Scottish have more moods than drunk?
Yes.
Well, actually, let's get technical here. I think Scottish Moods is just infringing on the name. I don't think that's an official Pure Moods compilation, but Celtic Moods is.
Gotcha.
Oh my God, we veered off track.
Yeah, we should get back to some classified information.
I think this was a Pure Moods conspiracy to derail us from talking about the real subject matter tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Which
all
is
over the place, yeah.
conspiracies.
My brain's been scrambled. I mean, I'm wearing a tinfoil hat right
He
now.
is.
We're all
Maybe
like-
his brain was scrambled by those things that the Men in Black use.
Yeah.
Neuralizer.
Yeah.
That thing too.
I've seen those. I've seen those at the adult toy store.
Now,
Oh God. No.
back in high school, I proposed a fake conspiracy theory. And when I had in college a speech class, we had to give a speech to inform. And I gave them my speech to inform about my conspiracy theory. And the sad thing is, many people walked up to me afterward going, "You are so right."
Well, it ended up being true, though, isn't it?
This conspiracy theory is the MTV Disney conspiracy theory back in the early 90s. The MTV Disney conspiracy theory of how they are trying to warp the minds of the youth of America and steal their childhood.
They are. They stole mine. They also stole my virginity.
They stole my
That is a
dog
lie.
and my cat.
And the idea for this is that Disney was bringing in all these young kids like Britney Spears and some of the Backstreet Boys on the Mouseketeers, and then they'd hand them off to MTV. They'd also do stuff like that, like 98 Degrees or whatever the heck it was called, did a song just for Mulan. And then all of a sudden it's all over on MTV. So these little kids like, oh my gosh, Disney. Oh, I love this. I love 98 Degrees. Oh, it's on MTV. Boo.
Doesn't Disney own MTV?
Hex, can I interrupt you for 1 second and just say that I hope to God that your speech actually involved you doing those voices?
And they walked up to me like, dude, you were so convincing.
I have heard little girls say that.
But no, that is a common cult thing. Is that you take some kids in, you brainwash them,
Yeah.
and then you send them out into the world.
They all
Make a bunch of ads with Joe Camel, and then bam, you got your new smokers.
Yeah, you've got subliminal messages in the ice cubes
and
telling-
furries with smoking fetishes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've got
Real smoke fetishes.
Coca-Cola bottles that say "suck my dick." You know,
What?
in the ice cubes. In the
Dude, I am
print
not
ads.
following you
I know
anymore.
subliminal messages in the ice cubes, man.
Like, the things that you just see, those don't count.
Dude, I have
No
read,
one else sees those.
I know all the conspiracies. I know them all.
This Prime episode, obviously we're talking about conspiracies, but
Talking about the truth.
we're talking about the truth. We're talking about things we've heard. We're talking about things that are true. We're talking about things that are funny. Basically,
This is the most educational episode you will ever hear.
this is a line of discussion that is very serious. I mean,
Everything is true.
Hey, laugh while you can, monkey boy. This shit could be. This shit may or may not be real.
It's
No,
all
it's,
real.
it's all real.
But
It probably is.
before we get ankle deep in this weird muddy mess of
Truthiness.
truth, let's recap a little bit in our first Nerdy Show Prime episode.
things got
Things
real.
went crazy. I can only say, listen to that episode. It's a mindfuck. We don't know what happened with Lenario von Darkwolf. We haven't seen or heard from him. The police haven't been able to find him because, yes, we did report him, when Dean disappeared. We said, look for this guy. Here's his contact information. And Spookamus has been relatively dormant, but a funny thing did happen with Spookamus.
I wouldn't say that was funny. I would say that is...
It was
that's-
funny to spookiness.
Well, yeah. It was funny for Spookamus.
Our friend Matthew Spill.
Who's our film correspondent.
He asked me over Facebook if he could use Spookamus' name for the name of his fantasy football league, and I was like, "Sure, man.
It's your funeral.
Go for it." Like he thought it would strike fear into his opponents, and I said, "There's a chance it'll do that, but he is his own beast," and he's like, "All right," and so he did it. And Matt Spill, he's pretty good at these fantasy football leagues. He always makes these pretty.
He's always choosing Gimli first.
Yeah. He chooses the right elves and the right dwarves. And then,
There's actually a video series that we've talked about in the past, and it's posted
Yeah.
on Nerdy Show called the Dharma Fantasy Football League, and yeah.
and I don't know much about football, but that looks like D&D with sports. But so he did that, and he had the worst game, season, whatever, and was completely out of the league after.
He was destroyed.
He was
He said
destroyed.
he has never experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
He was not doing great to begin with. He changed his name midstream to Spookamus to try to stir things up. Apparently, that was a death sentence. He should have listened to you, Mike.
I mean, I guess I should have warned him more. I thought maybe it would work out, but of course, things never work out as planned.
So all of you out there hoping to name your firstborn kid Spookamus, that is a bad idea.
Don't do it.
You're just gonna unleash that restless spirit on the world again.
Yeah.
When, he was Charles Manson,
Maybe.
or some other serial killer.
Or worse.
Yeah.
He was Hitler's illegitimate son.
What if he's Hitler's...
Or his illegitimate grandson. Believe it or
Double
not,
illegitimate.
more on this later in the episode.
What?
During this episode, we're going to be interviewing Lanaia Lee, who's an author of many books and some dark poetry. And she's a firm believer in a lot of paranormal things, a lot of things associated with conspiracies, such as extraterrestrials and Atlantis. We're going to be talking to her about that. We're also going to be talking to Jackson of Grand Buffet, who's a man who knows a thing or two about some secret societies and has written more than a few raps talking about some secret shit, some top secrets. But most importantly, cream of the crop, we're going to be interviewing the webmaster from crazyfuckingconspiracies.com. It's something we talked about in the past. Quick recap. We joked about there being a website called Crazy Fucking Conspiracies.
We joked about it being Brian's blog.
You know, because that would be funny.
Ha ha ha. Brian writes a blog about conspiracies. That's amusing.
Truth is,
there is an actual website called
There's an actual psycho.
Conspiracies.com.
yeah.
It's already there.
And he started sending not so friendly emails to Brian.
What's that been like, Brian?
Nightmarish. You know, I do all my business through the internet, through email correspondence, and so I keep getting this guy's his rantings. I mean, you can go to his website, you can see the kind of stuff that he is unintelligible.
All caps, no punctuation.
Yeah, and the email's exactly the same. So, you know, just
I'm glad
imagine
he
trying to conduct ordinary day-to-day business and just getting this crap.
At least he keeps it real. He doesn't play for his blog. He always...
Yeah, he is legitimately just out of his mind.
As we mentioned in some previous episodes, we talked him into coming on the show, so we're going to see how that goes. So we mentioned the X-Files earlier. It's one of the greatest television shows of all time. It's
greatest television serial documentary of all time.
Yes. But before...
and only because Star Wars was not on television first.
Correct.
It's been on television.
Well, it was meant for the screen, because that's how serious it is as a documentary.
It's true.
Right, the Journal of the Wills, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far
Right.
away. Of course. But before Stargate went on for about 1 million billion seasons, X-Files was actually the longest-running science fiction television show. But it's definitely the best longest-running science fiction television show.
It was for a while.
I'm a firm believer that the show never got bad, even
Really?
when David Duchovny
It
got
had,
out.
no matter what you say, it had the best supporting cast characters
Yeah.
in one group called The Lone Gunmen.
I loved their show. There, I said it.
Their show was amazing. I
What, did it
can't...
get canceled after like 3 episodes?
Yes.
So, it was a conspiracy against them. They were too
I liked it better
good.
than the real show.
It was. I honestly teared up and cried out loud during the second to last episode of X-Files when those characters died. Heroic.
Oh, you
deaths.
ruined it for me. I didn't know that happened.
Really?
Really?
Okay, that's totally
Where have
like...
you been for 10 years?
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? The Romans killed Jesus.
It's on my... No, I thought the Jews
That's
killed
that.
Jesus.
Oh.
Conspiracies. You guys are just...
Like, seriously? Like, you...
That was on my list of things I need to get to.
Ahab doesn't get his revenge. There you go. I said it.
Bastard. There's so many things I need to catch up on.
Everyone is guilty on the Oriental locomotive. I said
We need
it.
to stop.
Did you guys ever watch Millennium?
Yeah, I love that show.
No.
That was the other X-Files spinoff, the one that lasted for more than a season that they didn't air all of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really good. I forget the main character, but I love him. He played the cyborg guy in Alien. I forget his name.
Oh, yeah, I don't know
The guy
that
who played
actor's
Bishop?
name.
Was that
Bishop.
the,
Bishop,
I just call him Bishop.
Yeah. Well, he was the main character in the show, but old.
Now,
Oh, yeah.
X-Files not too long ago had another film.
Ugh.
It was a Monster of the Week deal. It didn't make any sense that after all this time they'd come back for that. But did you guys know that there's some serious movement happening right now on X-Files 3?
Yes.
Which
Yes.
will in fact wrap the series.
How big of a movement?
Because he really wants to.
I'm talking David Duchovny's Twitter, man. That's where it's from. And,
Okay.
David Duchovny says that they're
Because when I make a movement,
seriously moving
it clogs
forward on
the
it.
toilet. Is their movement that big?
It clogs the Twitter. That's how
Okay.
big that movement is.
Wait,
making sure.
What is there left to wrap up in
Dude.
X-Files?
2112.
Oh, God damn it.
December 21st, 2012. That's when the aliens are going to come to Earth. And that was the ominous finale of the series and of the alien plot in X-Files was that...
I have to say, the overall plot of X-Files was like the weakest part of it.
Yeah,
It's true,
The best
actually,
part was
yeah.
the
That
Best
not
part
knowing
were
it.
all the funny episodes.
I mean, the best part of, honestly, the best part of X-Files was not knowing the underlying plot. Once you knew it, you're like, oh. What I was thinking, it was so much cooler.
I thought the best part was you never know if Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny are going to do it. But they never do it.
Oh man, remember that cover of Rolling Stone where they're like in the bed?
You know I don't read.
They're naked. They're naked in the bed.
Hey, you don't read? Well, let's talk about a musical
reading's
conspiracy
for
that's out
assholes.
there for a bit.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, to this day.
this day.
This is one of my favorite conspiracies. This is the sort of thing that when I was a little kid, I found out about this, and then when I first got the internet, I read up on it big time. The theory that Paul McCartney died.
Well, he did. Everyone knows that. He's back now, but he was dead.
So he's a superhero.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure he's a Green Lantern.
Huh.
He is British.
Wait, what?
What does that mean?
No. Derailed.
People's throw that around a bit. Paul is dead and everything. You guys familiar with the actual conspiracy of it?
No, what is it?
Just what you and I have talked about.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this. What is this?
It's the idea is 1966, Paul McCartney gets in an auto accident that kills him. And it's at the height of the Beatles' popularity. It would just be totally detrimental to the band, maybe even the world at large, because, the reaction for most people towards the Beatles is, hysteria. So they stage this elaborate thing where, in Canada, they hold a Paul McCartney lookalike contest and find a guy named William...
Paul McCartney.
A guy named William Shears. And he's so good at playing Paul McCartney, they bring him in, they give him some plastic surgery, they make him look more like Paul McCartney, and they actually put him in as Paul McCartney. And at the time of his death, Paul McCartney was dating Jane Asher, a famous model, and they were all going to get married and everything. But then she said, he was like another person, he changed completely. And he dumped her, went for Linda Eastman, an American, but then they put all these secret messages in the music and in the album art and everything.
That's the part that always confused me.
Why they would lead everyone on.
Okay, guys, let's do this huge conspiracy that the whole fate of humanity's sanity depends upon the successful pulling off of. Now, let's just place multiple hints as to the horrible lies that we have perpetrated.
Yeah, other than the Beatles were practical jokers, there's no real there's no real substance as to why it would have happened. But it's actually a pretty creepy thing because I don't know how many of you guys have actually listened to the song Revolution 9. But it's this many minutes long sound collage of terrifying noises.
Yeah, I've listened to the first 5 seconds and went, skip.
I listen to it all the time. I like it. It's like
Number 9?
It's like noise.
Number 9? Number 9?
Well, I also listen to Steve Reich on a regular basis, so.
Yeah, if you like the same chord over and over again, that's your jam, boy.
Just
So it's just a bunch of weird sound bites looped together.
Well, it's the sound collage is kind of something that's common in modern experimental music. The Beatles pretty much invented it.
Yeah.
No one had ever heard anything like it before. And when I was a little kid, I used to skip that track because it was terrifying. So
Maybe they just put a necrophone up to the real Paul McCartney's grave.
I think that's
and
exactly
how
what
they
it
got
was.
that track. They're like, we need one real song now that he's gone.
well, the deal is that after playing that phrase number 9, where an announcer says the words number 9 over again, you play it backwards, and it sounds like he's saying, "Turn me on, dead man." Which is
Also, when I hear number 9 over and over and over again, I want to kill the president. Is that weird?
that's just normal.
Yes.
Just making sure. Just wondering if anyone else had that experience.
No.
There's also, you put a mirror in the middle of the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band drum, and it spells out in the reflection when you get the top and the bottom together this weird little message that says 1x he die. So it's like it's all these it's all very, very convoluted but very haunting in a lot of ways.
Who does these things? Do they do this to every album cover? They put up mirrors at every single angle to find the secret messages to tell them not to kill the president?
What else are you going to do when you listen to the Beatles on acid?
Yeah, I think it has to do a lot with 60s, 70s drug culture and just taking music and obsessing over it, which it's good music, damn right. But you're locked in your room in your egg chair with your headphones on, and all you got is nothing but you're just strung out on drugs, man. You're just looking at the vinyl.
They didn't have the internet to trip out
man.
on.
Yeah, they didn't. They couldn't just F5 all day. They had to look at this thing. And go, oh man, I see it. It's so full of stars. And then
There's a lot of interesting complexities and stuff to this whole sort of social movement, because a lot of people did believe that Paul McCartney was dead for a while. The world was a much smaller place back then. They couldn't really get confirmation of anything, and it just kind of snowballed till it got out of control.
Unlike when I read Leslie Nielsen died,
Yeah, that's when he died.
Wikipedia was already updated and everything was in the past tense.
Yeah, that's...
That's thorough.
I think he just wanted to escape his dying career, which makes me upset because I really wanted an Airplane 3. But I guess he won't be in it if they decide to.
No dice, Mr. Brandon.
The cat agrees with me. Airplane 3 should be made by someone.
But speaking of Paul is dead, MC Lars and Whitey Cracker in
Are
their
both dead.
collab.
You heard it here first.
What? No, they're alive and well. Don't. Anyways, they had a collaboration album called Digital Gangsters, and on that album they had a track about conspiracies called Paul is Dead.
Well, you know what they're saying, right? Like, by making this statement, they're kind of reverse engineering the message, and I think that we know what they're saying. They're saying that
Frontalot is dead?
They are
obviously, like, Frontalot is dead. He's been replaced by a double.
But
Front a little.
Yeah, front a little, not front a lot.
there's a Frontal Little Squad. Was he replaced by all of them?
We don't have all the answers right now.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the track.
Dead.
His name was Valiant Thor. He grabbed my hand. His hand was skin soft as a lady's or a baby's skin, but it was a grip of a man. And we spent 30 minutes, mostly me asking questions and he giving answers. And he claimed that he was from the inside of the planet that our Bible calls the morning and the evening star, the planet Venus. He said yes. All of this time, Mr. Thor was at the Pentagon for 3 years, mind you. And he was going and coming at will. He was brought to the President of the United States, Dwight Eisenhower, and Richard Nixon, offered to give them information on how the American people could successfully live without sickness, without poverty, without disease, and without death. They told him, "We're sorry that we cannot accept the information that you're freely giving us because it will ruin the economy of this country."
With us on the phone, we have the guy from Crazy Fucking Conspiracies.
No, this is a real guy.
This is a real guy.
Okay.
I don't know his name. I just been calling him CFC guy. What should we call you?
CFC guy will suffice.
All right, so
Okay.
very, very incognito. He replied to me with several different email addresses. It was really hard to keep things going. You're paranoid, man.
I have to change email addresses roughly every 2 to 3 days.
Wow.
That's a lifestyle that I don't envy. What has put you in such a place of danger? I mean,
I report the truth, and the government can't stand that.
yeah, but your website's just, easily accessible.
The website is set up through a number of proxy servers. I'm quite a bit smarter than certain FBI agents.
Certain ones, very specific ones then? You've got some enemies?
I've got several enemies. I won't take the time to address them all here, as I'm sure that the program would last quite long enough.
Fair enough.
That is more than enough. Now,
I just
My
thought-
enemies are, we're not talking only the United States government. We're talking every government of the 21st century and a few of the 22nd century.
interesting, so time travel is a factor here.
Oh, yes. Sideways time travel, forward time travel, all time travel.
So they all exist. Both sidestepping into alternate realities and moving forward in our own are both viable modes of chronular transportation. Chronual?
Yes.
Wow. The things that I learn. Well, we've got you on here for a couple reasons. One, we think your website's hilarious, be it true or not.
That's very true, but thank you.
Are you okay with us finding
balls to write that.
humor in your
I,
case?
I've been doing this work for years, and I've come across many people who think it's all funny and for jokes, and, I've just learned to accept that, and you will learn the truth eventually, or you'll be consumed and destroyed by it, either way.
Someone makes a comment in regards to how relaxed Crazy Fucking Conspiracy Guy sounds since he types in all caps. They assumed that he would be shouting all the time.
Oh, actually, I am shouting. It just sounds like I'm not due to the voice modulation I have to use to make sure that the internet future people are not recording me and tracking me from the future.
Surprise is expressed at the mention of internet future people.
This is the life that I lead.
The reason we've brought you on here, unintelligible dialogue, is your gripe with our co-host, Brian Clevenger.
You guy's an asshole.
Someone asks how the feud started.
I don't know whose fault it is, but, it seemed like he was trying to take credit for my work, and, I'm used to people laughing at my work, that's one thing, but to take credit for it, that is wholly another thing altogether.
Cap addresses Brian and his opinion.
Fuck that guy.
Cap says, those are fighting words. Cap says, we don't have time for a bicker fest.
You just keep that Clevenger guy quiet, and we can conduct this interview just fine.
Mike says, that sounds fair, and Cap says, again, you sound more laid back than I expect you would.
Again, I'm screaming practically at the top of my lungs. It is only the voice modulation software.
A question is asked in regards to how much CFC Guy knows about Nerdy Show.
Oh, I know things, don't worry about that. I've got documents on all you people.
Mike laughs nervously and says, uh-oh.
Yes, Mr. Pandell, you especially.
Mike makes nervous comments about how much information CFC Guy has in regards to his internet browsing.
That is only the beginning.
Mike makes nervous comments in regards to seeing certain kinds of porn online and whether it may be used against him.
Sometimes that's unfortunate, but we can keep this friendly.
Wow, okay. Hey, choose your words carefully, Mike.
I'm on your side right now.
Mike asks for clarification on the CFC Guy calling World War I World War II.
Seriously, we're not trying to go for this.
Right. In common history, that's what it was.
I want to know the story. What was the real World War I? Why don't we know a gateway?
The real World War I took place in the 1830s, and primarily it was fought on Mars, which is why we don't know a whole lot about it. It was fought by captains of industry using their electrogravitic spaceships. That's how they were able to escape the confines of common history's own Earth and reach the planet Mars. It formed the basis of the War of the World. That's where H.G. Wells got the real inspiration for it.
Mars.
I don't know, talk to all these people and encounter all these things. I mean,
pyramids,
really, like
a face on it,
canals, this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. All true.
The doubt and the uncertainty.
Does that have anything to do?
It's exciting.
With
it's also dangerous because all of a sudden, next thing you know,
absolutely, obviously.
So did humanity establish a civilization on Mars? Conspiracy theory destroy itself? Is that what you're saying?
That is exactly what I'm saying. The war ended the Martian occupation.
So there were no Martians, though?
Well, if there were, they were probably executed systematically by the Atlanteans.
Whoa.
This wasn't Earth's first expedition to Mars, make no mistake.
Cap asks, so before the 1800s?
Yeah, the Atlanteans. They must have landed on Mars first.
Mike asks for clarification in regards to the Atlanteans.
Yeah, from the fabled city of Atlantis, yes.
Okay.
Cap asks, what about the allegations that Atlanteans are from outer space? Clarifying that is a popular belief.
That's a pretty stupid one.
Wait.
It's so crazy.
Hold on.
I think from the 90s.
Mike says, wait, so Atlanteans are not aliens. Are they just humans?
Correct. I'm not entirely sure what they are, or were, or will be, depending on your temporal, chronal perspective on things. But they were definitely terrestrial.
Okay. And where is Atlantis located?
Currently, Atlantis is located transdimensionally toward Earth, slightly to the left, but we would perceive it physically as within the Marianas Trench in the Pacific Ocean. Very cleverly hidden. By calling it Atlantis, we all look naturally in the Atlantic, but oh no, they were much smarter than that and buried it deep into the Pacific.
Why did they bury it?
Their reasons are their own.
Okay.
Where do you collect your evidence? I mean, all of these are very, very drastic things. Many of them, despite what I've read about conspiracies in the past, I've never heard, except for on your site. Like, what are your sources for this?
Primarily myself. I'm something of an adventurer, living outside of my car as I do, and I travel the world and I collect evidence. It's a lot like Indiana Jones, actually.
Okay. Indiana Jones. There was that new one with the crystal skulls.
Yeah, and aliens.
And aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Who are transdimensional.
See, the fourth one is the best one, as it gets the closest to the truth.
Oh.
Differing opinions.
Okay.
What do you anticipate for the fifth Indiana Jones film?
I don't know. I would be curious to see how far Mr. Lucas is willing to go with disguising the truth, yet revealing the truth through these wonderful cinematic metaphors.
Now, did you see the recent news that George Lucas is buying the rights of dead actors' likenesses to put them in future films?
Yes, it did. That is a very wise move, as many of these actors, because all, as we know, celebrities are very powerful people, far more important than most ordinary people, and many of them were involved in these conspiracies.
I was giving Micah "you've got to be fucking kidding me" face. I hadn't heard that at all.
Yep, it's happening.
Who's he bought?
I think he just made some broad claims that he's going to be doing that soon.
That's funny, considering that when episode 1 was starting up, there were all these rumors that he was going to be putting a CGI face of Alec Guinness over Ewan McGregor. Oh my god, that's crazy. Well, have you ever been to the future? Have you ever time traveled yourself?
I've been to a future.
Really?
Yes.
What did you see in this future?
Desolation. It was a lot like the American Southwest, but forever.
Is there any way we can prevent this desolation?
Well, that's the thing about traveling to a future. You're not sure if it's an alternate one, or the real one, or one that has already happened but won't happen to your timeline. It's tricky stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, that actually makes me wonder. I mean, clearly you're an adventurer. You've had some kind of time travel experience. How did all of this start? What put your life on this slippery slope?
Have you ever seen... There's a television show called The X-Files.
I am familiar with it, you could say.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I watched 2 or 3 of those and I figured this was the life for me.
When was this? Season 1?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If only you'd chosen Briscoe County Jr. instead.
Well, I originate, my home timeline is well after the Briscoe County era.
Wow, I'm you're talking about all these different time periods and everything, and different eras and time travel. Is this even your home reality, or
I'm about 95 to 97% sure that yes.
Oh.
Okay.
There's always going to be that slight doubt.
I wanna play a game, kind of like a word association game.
Sure.
Oh, I love these.
Except where I'm gonna throw something at you, and in the most concise way, you're going to tell me the truth about the subject. Okay? Aliens.
Illuminati.
Okay. Bigfoot.
Illuminati.
Okay. Dolphin.
Future Illuminati.
Okay. Okay. Atlantis.
Lunar Illuminati.
Okay. Werewolves.
Fake.
Whoa, hold up. Of all the things that I've ever seen, and I think I can speak on behalf of all of Nerdy Show on this fact, that the thing that we've encountered that is maybe the most challenging to our beliefs about what is real and what is not real are werewolves. And we've seen very recently had an entanglement with both werewolves and ghosts. I don't know about that, man. What do you think?
Just to clarify, was it a werewolf ghost? Because that I would believe.
It was no. It was. There were two separate things, not necessarily in conjunction with each other, just closely related. So, what makes you think that werewolves aren't real?
I've never found one myself.
But why would a werewolf ghost be more believable?
Well, then you're dealing with the spiritual plane, and anything goes.
Okay.
For instance, I've had multiple encounters with this spookiness creature.
Oh shit!
Well.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Well, you may have created him. Well, I guess you didn't. You couldn't create him. But you gave him the name Spookiness.
I did.
Maybe.
I think. Well, maybe.
Unless you were influenced.
Yeah, who knows? Spookiness is something I've been dealing with my entire life. What is Spookiness? Can you give me any sort of insight on Spookiness?
My investigations have been rather disastrous in that area.
Okay. That sounds par of the course.
Yes.
With any dealings I've had with that certain specter.
Yeah, he'll screw up anything you throw his way.
Yeah.
Be it fantasy football games or, podcast recording.
Anything. Anything. Chupacabras.
Illuminati.
Okay.
Oh.
Illuminati.
Atlanteans.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Working in circles now.
Yeah. Wait, is the Illuminati current? Are they still around?
Oh, I think the proper term is ultra-current. They exist across all time and space.
So, are you implying that Illuminati are Atlanteans?
At one point, yes.
Are they still around?
In this timeline.
That see, This is where things get sticky because we have interweaving and interlocking timelines, we have alternate timelines, all intersecting and intermingling and coexisting. It can be difficult to parse out exactly what is going on. So, could be Atlanteans. I will not rule out current Atlantean existence.
All right, that's complicated.
It's enough to drive you crazy.
Well, that's actually a question I have. Like, crazy fucking conspiracies. That's a pretty radical, somewhat self-aware name for a blog dedicated to exposing very controversial truths. Why that name?
Well, I am aware of how these things sound to a quote-unquote rational mind. And I've seen some other conspiracy sites out there, and those guys are just nuts.
If you say so, man. I mean, I guess you'd know.
Yeah. A lot of them are, I suppose they're well-meaning individuals, but these are clearly people with entirely too much time in their hands. They'll believe just about anything you tell them. Ultimately, they're doing the movement for truth more harm than good, but their heart is in the right place.
Brian, you've been quiet this whole time. I guess you're trying to play it safe.
Yeah, I don't want to piss this guy off. He's freaking me out.
I mean, I know, I judging by what he's been talking about, I know a lot of that hits close to home and your own research and everything. We're running a little low on time on the interview, but if you got one question to ask this guy, now's your chance. What do you got for him?
Okay, all this time crap that he's talking about. Who is president in the year 2336?
The Illuminati.
Well, all of them?
Yes, the entire Illuminati Council will be president in that time.
So they wouldn't have even bothered to strike the terminology of president and not just be the Illuminati?
It is part of how they fleece the American people into voting for them. It's a rather complicated process.
Well, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. I mean, mostly people elect the party anyway, so if the party's the Illuminati, then it doesn't really matter if it's one person or several people or a
this is heavy.
Biomechanical mess of electronic heads sewn together. These things happen.
Yeah.
And they have happened, and they will happen again and again.
Oh, thank you very much, CFC guy, for joining us. If you got any truth bombs you ever need to drop, you can totally drop them on us so long as they are not actual explosives.
Oh, I'm glad you made that specification, thank you.
Oh, I can't be too careful these days.
No, you honestly cannot.
I've got one last question for you before we sign off.
Sure.
We're going to interview a woman a little bit later in the episode. Her name's Lanaia Lee. She writes about Mayan apocalyptic prophecies, crystal skulls, things like that. I was wondering if you'd heard of her.
Oh, yeah, certainly. She's about 30 to 40% right.
There you have it, guys. Coming up next, Lanaia Lee. 30 to 40% right, according to Crazy Fucking Conspiracies. See you after the musical break.
Now a question. What have Herbert
With us on the phone is Lanaia Lee, and she's an author of many books and poems. And this ongoing series she's doing, a 5-part series, is about the lost continent of Atlantis, crystal skulls, and people who have mixed progeny with extraterrestrial beings. Welcome, Lanaia. Welcome to Nerdy Show.
Hi.
So, Lanaia, tell me about the Of Atlantis series.
Well, it's there. We start, book 1 is Of Atlantis, that's the name of it. And that starts on the continent of Atlantis. And I'm writing about the last known king of Atlantis. His name is Archimedes. But there's something unusual about him. He has an unlimited source of power. And there knows where it came from, but his father doesn't, the king that preceded him, which makes him fearful of his son at times. His father has an advisor. His name is Uric. He's my villain. He has the same source of power that Archimedes does. And Uric gets the idea that if he can harness the powers of Archimedes along with his own, it will make him powerful enough to become master of the universe.
The whole universe?
Now, the whole series of Atlantis is steeped in history. So Uric chases Archimedes throughout history. They survive the devastation because of their powers. And Archimedes is taking on identities like Imhotep of ancient Egypt, Pakal of the Mayans. I got Nostradamus in there.
Well, is he actually like the historical Archimedes? Is he that actual historical figure as well, or is his name just Archimedes?
His name's Archimedes.
Okay.
I know the name stuck in my head from high school. I know Archimedes is a Greek mathematician, but when I was writing the book, it just popped in there, and I said, "Oh, how cool!" and I'll use it.
Might as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Now tell me, I've read synopsis, and Archimedes is, I think I have this right. He's half Orion, which is an alien race.
Absolutely correct.
And I know you actually believe in the lost continent of Atlantis. I was wondering if you could tell us about that and what's made you so firm in your belief of this lost continent.
Well, my mom was a teacher, and she introduced me to Plato's Atlantis when I was 5, and I've been obsessed since. And one thing that really stood out to me is Edgar Casey, the prophet of the 30s and 40s. He said that a part of Atlantis would be discovered in 1968. The Bimini Road was found in 1968. Since then, that's all I needed.
I've heard of the Bimini Road, but could you expand on the topic of the Bimini Road and exactly what that represents for the feasibility of Atlantis having actually existed?
Yes, my theory is Atlantis is in the Caribbean. And the Bimini Road is right off the island of Bimini. It's a mass of stone, different pieces of stone that looks like it could have been a walkway or some sort, or some sort of harbor maybe. They don't know for sure yet, but the stones are man-made. There is no way that Mother Nature could have done that.
There's a man who we interviewed earlier in the episode who runs a website called Crazy Fucking Conspiracies.com. He's got a lot of wild theories. Whether they're true or not, I couldn't say because they're all across the board. But one of them, he suggests that Atlantis does exist, but the reason we've never found concrete evidence of it is that Atlantean technology actually moved the lost continent to the Pacific, where it was then destroyed. And the problem is we've been looking in the wrong place.
I disagree. Because right off the coast of Cuba, they did some underwater sonar on the ground floor of the sea, the ocean floor, and they felt echoes of buildings under the seafloor. They also found that the seafloor was 75% beach sand, which means it was above water at one time. That's enough for me.
Well, there's the underwater pyramid over in Japan. They found
that's from another lost civilization. That is not Atlantis.
Do you think they had any kind of trade or anything with Atlantis?
Plato himself said Atlantis was beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which we know today is the Straits of Gibraltar, which would put it in the Atlantic Ocean. And that is my belief.
I mean, the world is circular. It could, in theory, go
It would be beyond. Yeah, that's true. It would be beyond.
Really, really beyond.
Well, let me tell you this. Our world is 4.5 billion, that's with a B, years old. And scientists and scholars say the dawn of mankind was what, 50,000 years ago? I don't buy it. Just look around. I mean, look at the Great Wall of China, Stonehenge, the pyramids on the Giza Plateau, the pyramids in Central America, the mounds in Ireland. They were built by primitive man, but they had to have help.
So you do believe that extraterrestrials have interacted with the human race?
Oh, absolutely, no doubt in my mind.
Now, do you think there's any sort of connection with the Bermuda Triangle and Atlantis? Because if you're saying it's off the coast of Bimini, isn't that like smack dab?
Yes, I do. But I think what the Bermuda Triangle is a doorway or vortex to another dimension. Because it was Einstein himself that said, for each known dimension, there is an innumerable amount of unknown dimensions. So yes, if Einstein makes sense out of it, I can too.
It's true. One thing's for sure, there's been just countless things going on in the Bermuda Triangle, one way or another. Even if it's a massive, just magnetic disturbance, there's something up with that place.
All the ships and planes that have gone down in the Bermuda Triangle, whether they went down by weather anomalies or whatever, there would have been some sort of debris left. Where's the debris?
That's true.
Yeah, and maybe like Amelia Earhart's just living it up in this other dimension.
That's a story I'd like to read.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting was Flight 19, the 5 planes too.
Oh, yeah.
It disappeared. Did they send out a reconnaissance plane to find it, and it disappeared?
So if there's like this interdimensional nexus in the Bermuda Triangle, and that's also where Atlantis went down, and they're somehow related, was Atlantis moved to this other reality, or is it at the bottom of the ocean, or is it like in between? I'm curious.
I think it's beneath the seafloor, I really do. Because why is the seafloor 75% beach sand?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Now,
And like the Caribbean islands are the most beautiful in the world. And I believe they are remnants of the continent of Atlantis. Whether it be the mountaintops or the hills, I believe there was what's left.
another major element of your Of Atlantis series are the crystal skulls of Belize.
Oh, yes.
And I know that there's been a lot of discussion about the crystal skulls and how during the last century they were showing up in museums and auction houses and so on, and everyone was saying that they were ancient pre-Columbian artifacts. But then there was a lot of evidence to suggest, and people believe all kinds of things about them. They have healing properties, that they have crystal ball properties, and you can see the future in them or some sort of visions. But then there's also been a lot of information suggesting that they're actually fabrications, because all signs point to them being from the 1800s, because only then was the use of carbonundum, material to carve the skulls. Only during the 1800s was that available. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, I do. The High Council of Atlantis consisted of 13. There are 13 crystal skulls. These skulls are made out of quartz crystal, the second hardest substance known to man. There's no flaws, though. They're perfect. Even with today's technology with a laser or diamond cutter, you can still feel the stop-start marks. There are none. And I had a friend of mine, she's intuitive, and she got to spend time with the Mitchell Hedges skull, which they think is the 13th skull. And she said, I would not believe the power that skull emitted. She said it was just unreal. If you think about it, our computer microchips are made out of quartz crystal. I believe they're an ancient form of computer.
So it's like pretty big crystal, though. They're the size of a human skull, correct?
Correct.
So they'd be like a living computer.
But one scientist, it was Anna Mitchell Hedges that let this certain people examine the Mitchell Hedges skull. And one of the scientists said that the skull should not even exist, because they couldn't be of this earth. There's no way that they could have been made.
So do you believe that the Council of 13 were part extraterrestrial or completely extraterrestrial?
I believe the skulls are completely extraterrestrial, yes I do. Because there's no way. There is no way. They're too perfect. And if they were made in the 1800s, by what the material you said, there'd still be flaws. There are no flaws. None.
So why would extraterrestrials make human crystal skulls and not their own alien crystal skulls?
Who's to say it's not their skulls?
Oh, it's like actually... Oh, so maybe aliens look just like us or have the same skeleton structure?
Yeah, or similar.
Gotcha.
Who knows?
How many races do you believe of aliens have interacted with humanity over the years?
I have no idea, but I would suspect quite a few. Because in the universe, they say there's over 300 galaxies. Ours is just one. We would be mighty arrogant and self-centered to believe that we're the only living beings.
That's very true.
Now, do you believe that, like, in government conspiracies to cover up the existence of extraterrestrials?
Yes, I do.
Do you think that perhaps aliens have been visiting us for quite some time and the government has been covering it up?
Yes, I do.
Now, there's a lot of famous instances of this during the 1950s, for example, the most popular one being the Area 51.
The Roswell incident.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, I think it's
All right,
Aurora,
answer me
Texas.
this one. Why did the government deny Area 51 until the 1990s? Until they got a satellite image of the place. Then they had to say it existed. Then they moved.
I mean, it's true. It got to a point where they weren't fooling anybody anymore.
Yeah.
No matter what they were
Right.
doing in there, it used to be secret, and then it was at risk. So
Now, I watch a lot of, science fiction, and I read a lot of science fiction. Do you think that a Men in Black scenario, like in the films, where there's just aliens integrated into human society, but they're disguised, do you think that happens at all?
It's a possibility. I'm not sure if that happens or not, but it's a viable possibility.
That idea excites me. I'd like to think that some of the stranger folks I've met have been alien visitors.
Mike, sometimes I like to think that you are.
Well, it would be nice to think that another race cared that much. And of course, they're more intellectual than we are. If they are here and they have interacted with us, you admit they know what the word humanity means. Somewhere throughout our history, we've lost the meanings of that word.
Now, there are intellectuals in the community, such as Stephen Hawking even, who state that we should actually try to avoid alien contact because any contact with them would be very similar to when the conquistadors first had impact with the Native Americans, that they would just come and we'd have a scenario very similar to Independence Day, where the aliens were coming just to reap our world for its resources. Do you think the aliens would not have that kind of reaction, but they would in fact be benefactors?
If they were so highly advanced more than us, why would they waste their time on us if they didn't care?
So you're thinking that they're humane aliens?
Yes, I do.
And using the traditional word of humanity, coming from the word humane.
Exactly. We're all creatures of the universe, and that's what I believe. That's what I believe. That's how I hope they look at it.
I mean, our own history has kind of shown that when a more advanced civilization finds a more primitive civilization, they destroy it, they conquer it, they take the land for what they need. What's to say that, the Klingons out there aren't gonna, for example, just come and just take us over for our natural resources?
Because this isn't the only planet. Like I say, the galaxies up there, they say there's 300 more galaxies. Why do they want our little petty butt, planet? Who knows they're out there that are that have flourished just like Earth has.
Well, it's my understanding that water is the most sought after and necessary ingredient to life in the universe, and is an extremely rare thing to have moving water on a planet.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at other planets or moons in our solar system alone, we're the only one with drinkable water as it is, with a planet at 75% of it.
Yeah.
So, on the surface, at least. So that.
But they just found, like crystals of Mars that has shown that there was water on Mars at one time.
that's true. The canals and all that. Tell me, that's actually one of my favorite Martian subjects is the presence of objects on Mars. Of course, there's the pyramids of Mars.
And the face.
But my favorite is the face, because that was just, I don't know, the first time I saw that when I was a little kid, that stuck with me, to say the least.
It's a very striking image.
If you look at that face and you look at the pyramids in Central America, you're going to find that same face.
And whose face is that? Is that some, Mayan god or Aztec god?
Or one of the Councils of 13?
There you go.
Wow.
Now,
Because, that really floored me when, somebody suggested it to me. So I looked it up on the computer, the face of Mars, and they're right. It does look like some of the hieroglyphs on the Mayan pyramids. It really does.
Something that Nerdy Show has personally had a lot of entanglement with recently, much to our regret, really, has been some paranormal instances. We recorded an episode about a month ago where a friend of ours had disappeared and things got really strange. We didn't know what was happening with him, and while we were recording an episode, we got these mysterious phone calls that actually turned out to be him communicating with us, but it was a really weird instance where like a door to the spirit world kind of opened and all sorts of terrible stuff was happening with our audio. We were getting all kinds of distorted noise. We heard what sounded like whispering and music and things that didn't make sense. I know that you've got some ties to the spiritual world of this existence. Your grandmother was a black witch. I was wondering if you had any thoughts on ghosts and the paranormal.
They're real. They exist. No doubt in my mind. I've never seen one, but I've heard them, I've smelled them, and I've felt them.
You smelled them?
Never
That's
seen them.
unusual. How do you smell a ghost?
Yeah, my mom used to wear, she died when I was 8. She used to wear Chanel number 5, and that is a very distinct smell, one you don't forget. I was in our living room one day in front of our entertainment center, and I started smelling that. My husband came in there, and I said, tell me, do you notice anything unusual? And doggone, he said, what kind of new perfume you got? I like fell over. I knew it was my mom. I knew.
Is the spirit world like another realm, another reality that crosses over? Like, I'm having trouble getting a grip on this.
You've got to remember, a human being has an aura. And the aura is electricity. Spirits, they are electricity. They're energy. Energy can manifest in any form, but you've got to remember we are also energy. And when we die, our physical body dies, but the energy doesn't die. Where does it go? To another realm, another dimension.
And is that somewhere I could access from the Bermuda Triangle?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
And Lanaia, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I read that you had interaction with actually like a ghost writer named Christopher Hill who managed to come into you and
from the afterlife
and have this...
No. A ghost writer. A ghost writer is a writer that an author hires to help him write a book.
So
that's the term of a ghost writer.
So you can hire a ghost to write.
If you want to put it like that, yeah.
Do you have to do a seance?
No. You don't mess with witch boards or seances unless you are a professional and know what you are doing.
So
because I always say you can leave open a portal. That's true.
So it's really kind of irresponsible for Walmart to sell Ouija boards.
Well, that's up to them, but I tell you what, I will not allow a Ouija board in my house.
So all those ideas we had about trying to deal with our spook problems from last time.
Yeah.
We should stay out of that. Now,
can I plug my new book?
Oh, absolutely, Lanaia. It's go right ahead.
It's called Prey of the Scavenger. It's a psychological thriller. Have y'all seen Shutter Island?
No, really wanted to though. Looked great.
It will. My book is an entirely different topic, but it unfolds much like Shutter Island. You have no idea what is really going on to the very, very end. It is about a serial killer that practices hoodoo.
Did you say practices hoodoo?
Hoodoo.
Okay.
Hoodoo is like African magic.
Okay.
And I'm about finished with another one called Paradox 5. That's about Hitler's fictitious illegitimate grandson.
You have a poem about that, right? About Hitler's
Right.
grandson? Called Insanity's Child? Yeah.
Right. I'm working on another one called A Thorn Within the Roses, and that's about a black female serial killer slave during the Civil War.
Wow. That's a combination I've never heard.
You have got to admit my ideas are unique.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
That is how I would describe them.
That is a killer combo. Literally, that's amazing. Wow.
Hollywood needs new material. And in the works in my head, I haven't started it yet. But I'm sure y'all are familiar with Eastern State Penitentiary.
No, actually, I don't know that particular.
That is a prison that's in Pennsylvania. It's a Quaker prison. And they thought the way to God was total solitude. So being in that prison, you had no human interaction whatsoever.
Yikes.
9 out of 10 of the inmates went insane. And I want to do a book about an escapee from there. And I've already got my title. It's called Hallowed by the Horror.
Sounds good. I'd read that.
I just recently acquired my own publisher. And when she read part of the Scavenger, she read to chapter 5 and then wanted to stop it. And she wants me to stay in the psychological thriller genre because she says I'm good at it. So that's what I'm doing.
Now, there's 2 books in the Of Atlantis series. When can we expect to see the 3rd one?
Yeah, next year.
Okay, does he have a title for that one
There's
yet?
3, 4, and 5. What by publishers A.J. Spencer? What she's gonna do is put them all 5 like in a box set and offer them for sale that way.
Oh, right on. What we're going to close out with is actually a reading of Insanity's Child, the poem about Hitler's grandson. And something I noticed when I was listening to this poem was that it suggests that Hitler's, and I don't know if I know Hitler believed a lot of extreme stuff. I mean, he was a nut job for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, he had the I know this is a fact that he had the spear of Longinus, the one that pierced Christ's heart.
Oh yeah.
And he had that, and that's how he kept the superheroes out of World War II.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way that they could actually oppose, well, basically the secret war of World War II and all that. But in the poem, it mentions that Aryans descended from Atlantis, which I'd never heard before. Can you tell me a little bit about that before we go into the poem, just to give it some context?
Well, what the Aryan race supposedly did come from Atlantis, but also the old German race was called Aryan. They were giants, supposedly, in German lore.
Uh-huh.
So Hitler was always, he was a big fanatical man into the occult and supernatural, because he was always looking for relics and artifacts to, glorify the Nazi Party. That's why I came up with the idea of Paradox 5. Because his grandson is going to try to glorify his grandfather's name. And you said you wanted a sci-fi? It's got time travel involved. The Paradox is a time travel machine. And I called it the Paradox because it's the grandfather paradox. When you go back in time, you can't kill your own grandfather.
Yeah.
That's total taboo. So I named it that so the people traveling would remember that. And my 5 or an elite 5 chosen from the military for their expertise in a certain area. The 5 travel through time trying to stop Hitler's grandson from gaining certain artifacts and stuff. Yeah, it's going to be 3 books. I almost finished with the first one.
Now, I know it's not okay to go back and kill your grandpa. That's a definite.
Right.
That's
right,
a definite paradox. But in Back to the Future, Marty goes back and his mother, played by Leah Thompson, was looking pretty good.
Right.
Like if I'm just saying what if. I'm not saying I would do this on purpose. But if I accidentally went into the past and met my own grandma and I didn't realize it, could I be my own grandfather?
I don't see how, because history's set.
Okay.
Oh, so it's like 12 monkeys.
If you go back in time and you mess with history, no matter how minute, lots going to change.
Okay.
So time travel, if it is destined to happen, will have always happened, and what is
set.
Right. So the time travelers have already been here because they're going to be here, but you can't unhave them be here.
So if I'm
pretty much,
if I'm my own grandson, it's already happened.
Right.
Okay.
Locked in.
It's just locked in. Here's hoping.
That does explain a few things about you, Mike.
Yeah, you got that real inbred glower to you. Just got a look about you.
Thanks. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Lanaia, so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to go into Insanity's Child.
Destiny's Child?
No, it's about Hitler. It's not about Destiny's Child. It's Insanity's Child.
But he is a child of
Destiny.
Oh, I guess so.
And the Spear of Destiny.
Right.
Yeah, I guess.
Dr. Destiny.
No.
I've got a Spear of Destiny.
It would be hard to believe a remnant of an insane Hitler remains in our day.
Is there a sane
and time.
Hitler? This is an insane Hitler.
I mean, there's a hipster Hitler.
There is.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He hangs out with
I don't
Joseph
think
Stalin.
anyone would want to deal with.
Well, Hitler
That doesn't make any sense.
Could be Hitler might have had an illegitimate child. One copied from his very design.
So did Hitler genetically? Is it clone?
it's like
Is a clone an illegitimate child?
I don't know. It's
Technically, a clone would be an illegitimate child.
It is out of wedlock.
Yeah.
You played Wolfenstein 3D. It's the Frankenstein with the 6 axes and the chain gun in his chest.
To flee.
Also, why is it this guy can only talk in 2 words?
Because he's a Dracula?
Because it's a poem?
Once more, the world would see the horrors from another Hitler. The concentration
is
camps.
Hitler's grandchild?
People.
Yes.
Totally.
Grandchild clone illegitimate.
So every other generation is
So it's his illegitimate grandchild?
It's a lot of things.
I think that, he had a clone, and that was his illegitimate child. Then his illegitimate child...
Had an illegitimate child?
Yes.
With Hitler?
Yes.
What he
Because it was a girl
considered
Oh!
Yeah.
that of
I'm
an
looking at Rule
Aryan
63
race,
right.
descendants of the continent of Atlantis.
There it is.
Whoa.
Wait, what about Hitler in Atlantis?
Unimaginable
Aryans.
madness of one
Are from Atlantis.
solitary.
Wait, Aryans?
Yeah, well, that's what we. That's what she was saying.
Wouldn't it be scary if there was a grandson?
So wait, Atlantis is Caucasia?
Glorify
Where
his
the Caucasians come from?
grandfather's name. Just
I guess.
like during World War II,
There's a lot of
stealing artifacts from others that would glorify this name once again.
Nazis also thought that they came from Thule.
No, the man was grasping at straws.
Thule.
So others
Not
would
Zool.
want to play
Okay, so
his insane game,
so not the Destructor.
lying,
No.
cheating the world once again to the place.
But I bet they would have
his
been really
grandson
excited if they could have
would
had,
have everything.
Zool come down,
Who
turn
wouldn't
to a
be
giant
excited?
Sorth, and sort through
Just
D-Day
the
a little
thought.
bit.
Yeah.
of something like this. Well,
I just imagine a giant
would
Franklin
need
Delano
more
Roosevelt stomping
than one
Normandy.
bodyguard. People would be
Well, he'd roll over it anyway.
He's the ultimate mega tank.
in trying to stop
Take this, ratsies!
the madness once. To stop it
Can that go in Robo, please?
again. I don't think
I think the poem's
It would
twice
be
as long because of the way he's
that
spacing his words.
Yeah.
I think so.
Hitler had
I'm
survived
William
the prospects
Shatner.
for the future.
Would you guys like to hear
Well,
another one of her poems?
they would have
that I could read it so it would
mighty dim.
have a little bit more. I mean,
Hitler.
it has wind effects, but you know who else has wind
6
effects?
million people.
Are
I
you?
just wonder.
Sorry, Galdap.
Okay,
I could
yeah.
summon Galdap. Would you guys be into that?
Yes. But you need to make the
What kind
summoning
of damage
chant.
he would
Oh, we have a
do.
summoning chant?
We have a summoning chant?
You're gonna usually he's just
Isn't it just the dinner bell?
usually you would just appear, but you're actually calling him.
All it takes is the
Genocide.
crinkling of a Doritos bag open.
Well, let's get a
Getting
Doritos bag.
away.
Only once a month,
be
please.
Yeah, my body can only take so
The
much.
world
And
would
I,
be in total chaos.
any leftover Doritos.
One would have to wonder if the world would ever again
What is this guy on
be
about?
fine. What a horrific, terrible effect this would have on all.
I think he takes tranquilizers before he reads poetry.
And everything.
I do.
The thought of this, I just can't conceive.
I like Jabba the Hutt having
Everything
sex with Princess
in the
Leia.
world
Yeah, that's what I'm
would
looking at.
become truly.
He's got a giant tongue and she's in her slave outfit, bend over.
I'm sure
She's
we
licking her
would
booty.
hear
Is the art good?
sounds
Yeah, it's actually
alright.
from
She's kind of got them Disney eyes.
That art is pretty good. She looks like she's been rubbed in oil. I don't know.
would sing.
Disney art.
Maybe it's Jabba slime.
I think it's Jabba slime.
Looks like
If we remember what the guys told us about
His
Jabba.
offspring
And his
some
tongue.
sort of like
would be
Jabba
called
Coochie.
insanity's
Really?
Yeah.
child.
Huh.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that Jabba has some kind of weird. Oh yeah, here we go.
So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy some Flagpole Sit Up by Harvey Danger.
She said, would you like to meet one of the Rockefellers? We became friends, and he began to divulge a lot of things to me. So he said to me one night, he said that there's going to be an event you're going to see. We're going to go into Afghanistan. So we run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We're going to go into Iraq to take the oil and establish a base in the Middle East. They said you're going to see guys going into caves looking for people that they're never going to find. There's no real enemy. By having this war on terror, you can never win it because it's an eternal war. And so you can always keep taking people's liberties away. The media can convince everybody it's real. What's the point of this thing? You have all the money in the world you ever want. You have all the power. What are the ultimate goals here? The ultimate goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with the RFID chip and have all money be on those chips and everything on those chips. And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off their chip.
We have a Florida family who are really pioneers of the brave new world. They have volunteered to be the first ever to have microchip identification devices implanted into their body.
After 9/11, I was really concerned with the security of my family.
I wouldn't mind having something planted permanently in my arm that would identify me.
We talk about conspiracy films, we talk about conspiracy books, we talk about Mel Gibson's conspiracy theories, but there have actually been a lot of conspiracy video games lately. And with us in the studio we have Brandon and Jonna talking about video games with conspiracies in them.
Hello.
So why has there been an insurgence in conspiracy video games?
Well, because
what's the conspiracy?
People are actually catching on to the truth of things that have really happened to real life people, and the more people know about it, they know there's a story there. They can make money off of it, so they make video games out of it. That's why there's more conspiracy video games right now.
What are the titles?
Oh, well,
what
let's
are the
see.
ones we should look for the truth?
There were some prominent ones recently. There's Call of Duty Black Ops and Assassin's Creed.
And Golgo 13 for the NES.
And Golgo 13 for the NES, which I still can't beat the second stage because there's nothing but like window curtains and
it's a conspiracy.
And doors. There's no end to that stage. Anyway.
Is that like how they branded those extraterrestrial sex tapes as just an ET themed sex tape? And
no, those were actual videos.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No, they're real. They look so fake, but that's why, because that's what they really look like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the videos got out there and they had to say, no, this is a pornography film and not something that actually happened.
Before you get any further, I need to tell you an amazing story. So my grandmother, she lives in Boca. Okay,
right.
She's retired.
Boca Raton.
She's an old Jewish woman.
Ratsmouth.
She lives in Boca. Yeah. She lives next to a man who's about 70 to 80 years old, who the Black Ops game is actually based on. He was actually the main character from the Black Ops. So I actually went to South Florida and talked to him a bit, and he told me about all these events that happened. That correlate almost 100% with what they did in the game. There's some slight variations, but the game is almost completely his life story.
What?
And it's all about, he told me all about everything. The number towers, all this crap he had to go through, rehabilitation, everything. I sat down with him for like 2 hours.
Dude.
Wasn't allowed to take notes, wasn't allowed to record anything, wasn't allowed to do any of that crap.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Wasn't
let's
allowed
get him
to-
on the show.
Not allowed to say his name. I can tell you he lives in Boca, but nothing else. He was around during JFK, he was around during the Bay of Pigs, he's been in Vietnam.
And he's your grandma's neighbor.
Yes, he is retired and he's in Boca.
Now your name is Brandon Gerson, so I can figure out who your grandma is.
Maybe. If anyone hears this in the recording.
I'm telling you, man, Smoking Man listens to this. He told me.
So he told me he told me all about how he went into Cuba. He told me about how he thought he assassinated Fidel Castro and how he was royally screwed over. He told me about how he found out later that he was brainwashed, but only after he tried to assassinate JFK, which didn't really work out for him. But the government rehabilitated him, so it's okay.
And this is the like you said, the plot of Call of Duty Black Ops.
Pretty much, yeah.
I watched you play some parts of it. That game is amazing. That game is extremely cinematic. That game is like every Tom Clancy book distilled into one object.
It is. It's pretty fun. It's pretty awesome. And it is based on a true story. I'm not making that up. It was originally going to say based on a true story at the beginning, but they were going to get sued royally and destroyed by the government. They weren't be allowed to like even release the game if they did that, so they had to take it out. It was initially in the game, so I mean you can Google search that if you want. I think you can find it, but it is there.
Wait, so this guy killed JFK?
No. He did. He almost did. He got to the point where he was brainwashed and number stations were actually activated at some point in the United States of America. Several agents went hot, and those agents that did kill JFK were probably part of that.
Well,
but he got screwed with during the brainwashing process. Someone else, when he was in a Russian prison, actually screwed him over and tried to brainwash him for his own purposes. And they kind of counteracted each other, but he couldn't quite do what he was supposed to do in either event. So the government actually caught on to this and captured him and tried to interrogate them. Little did they know he's been brainwashed, and they rehabilitated him for years and years and years, and now he lives in Boca and makes a lot of money doing nothing.
That's why in the comic book Red, not the film, they sent Bruce Willis to kill JFK, and he succeeded.
Oh, did he?
In the comic, yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not. That scene's not in the movie. He also killed Martin Luther King Jr.
Well, really?
Yeah.
Dude.
It's a good comic.
Does he remember doing that?
He wasn't brainwashed.
Now, is that based on
That was just his job.
Now, was that based on a true story, or is that just...
That's Bruce Willis.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Bruce Willis is
It was actually Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Before he became an actor.
Yeah, they edited that scene out of the movie, which was an autobiographical film by Bruce Willis, written by Bruce Willis, starring Bruce Willis.
As Bruce Willis.
As Bruce Willis.
Yeah, if anyone wants to see the brainwashing shit that the governments of both Cuba and Russia, when they team up, can do to an American like you or me, just an average Joe, you should definitely check out Black Ops, because...
Now you mentioned number stations.
Yes.
Let's talk about those briefly.
Yeah,
because that's a huge thing. It showed up in Lost, and I actually there's an article that I've got that I'll forward everyone to on the website about the CompStat project, which is a cataloging of number stations. It's a free 3 or 4, maybe more, long disc set of just number stations.
Yes.
Now
Most of them are real.
These things are mysterious. They're completely real. There's been no confirmed thing from any government about what they are, but they're all over the world.
Of course not. They're not gonna release it.
Now, if I buy this CD and I play it, and then I hear the numbers that trigger that I'm a sleeper agent. Now I know I'm kind of young to be a sleeper agent, but maybe my dad was, and that stuff passes down, right?
There are some studies showing that it might be genetic.
All right, cool.
Because they do some genetics to fuck with you, but other than that, it's purely physical activities.
Now, obviously, your grandma was a big slut.
Obviously.
So
hence I'm here. Yes.
So she probably had sex with her neighbor, and that's probably you're probably
shit.
So
he could be my real daddy.
He could be your real granddad. So
we did have similar mustaches.
Yeah. So what if we buy this CD and it triggers you, and then you're like playing zombie mode?
I'm gonna kill JFK. Where is he? Where is he? I have to kill JFK if I hear this. Where is he right now? Where is he? Someone tell me where he is.
Bruce Willis killed him.
Oh,
so now you have to kill Bruce Willis.
Because he became JFK.
Yeah.
So when you kill Bruce Willis, you'll become.
I have to kill Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis, if you're listening to this, I'm coming for you right now. By the time you heard this, this has already been recorded. I'm right behind you.
He's gonna turn around. Yeah.
Turn around. Bam.
That's John McClane, dude. He's gonna wreck you.
Yeah, he is.
It's true. I don't think
in Dallas, man. He's gonna take you apart.
I don't think I could destroy Die Hard.
Yeah.
Mr. Die Hard.
Call of Duty Black Ops is really rooted in lots of American government conspiracies, the last 50 years of Cold War politics and all that.
All about Vietnam bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool piece of historical truth. I was gonna say.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, not all the characters in that game are real. The main character is definitely real. So.
But the other game, Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh, that's completely
Assassin's
real.
Creed, brother.
Yes.
What really?
Well,
I didn't expect you to say that.
I went on this stint for a few weeks, and it made me think a lot about the world. And so basically, I played Assassin's Creed back to back, and it blew my fucking mind about how corrupt the entire planet is, and how nothing has any point whatsoever, and everything is meaningless. And I just
we already knew that.
Yeah, no, but this just confirmed it, so there's no truth,
Why?
Everything is permitted. That's all I learned.
So this game's ruined your life, basically.
Yes, actually. Well, no, my life was already ruined. This just confirmed why. But yeah.
Why?
Okay, so this game, it's about a guy who's from a bloodline.
Italy ninja.
Right, an Italy ninja. Well, but first it's a Crusades ninja. Anyway,
First they're Muslims.
Yeah?
Yes.
Terrorists?
Middle Easterners.
They're terrorists?
It all starts with terrorism. It always comes back to terrorism. I just want to point that out.
I mean, honestly, like back then, like the Christians and the Crusaders, they were the terrorists.
It was
No, 9/11. Never forget, even before it happened.
Just remember, every year there's a 9/11.
Yeah.
Every year.
Okay?
It doesn't matter if it was the past. Every year there's 9/11.
When we get to September of this year,
oh god,
it's 9/11 all month long.
I have a bomb shelter.
Oh my god, and then when it's 9/11?
Is it 9/11 all month? Oh, fuck. Now we know when the next... If you're listening to this, the next terrorist attack is coming September 11th, because it's 9/11 all month.
Yeah, it's going to be nothing but Twin Towers falling.
Oh, damn it.
Every day.
I'm not following this. Are you following this?
It's going to be September the 9th month of 2011. It's going to be 9/11.
I'm crunching the numbers and they don't add up.
Okay, well, 2 towers, 2 times 2, 2012.
You got it. 2 times 2 is clearly 2012.
Okay, now...
Wait, I don't understand anymore.
Oh, come on. Power stations, keep up.
Oh yeah, you just add them up and then they turn into an alphanumeric code.
Yeah.
Actually, there's Assassin's Creed has a lot to do with numbers too. And they have a lot to do with how everything is based on this number 72, which is like this trigram of all the letters of like God's name, and everything forms 72, and all the major corporations, when you take their letters and add them up, like equals 72, and it's this huge conspiracy that you can actually find and look around.
Do you know why so many conspiracies are built on numbers? Because
numbers don't lie.
Because
numbers
normal
don't lie to me like my parents did. Numbers don't lie to me when they tell me the world's all right when they birth me out of their fucking vagina. Numbers don't lie to me.
Because average people are idiots and have no idea how to use numbers, and they like to misuse numbers.
No, yeah, they're sheep. The government knows this. The world knows it. Well, there's no
And so when someone hears a conspiracy involving numbers, they go, it must be true.
If you want to get technical, there's no actual governments. They're all run by other things too.
Everyone knows why 6 is afraid of 7.
Because 7 is the last consecutive odd prime integer.
Because 7 sodomized 9.
Brandon got it.
7 sodomized 9.
In a Russian prison.
Yes.
Yeah,
in a
brainwashed him.
In a Russian prison.
Remember the letter people?
What?
The letter people.
The letter people?
The letter people.
What the hell are the letters?
It was on PBS. It was like these puppets, and they were letters.
Were they numbers too?
Yes.
Oh shit! So that could have been a number station for.
It was.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa. I killed JFK's grandson in kindergarten.
Was Sesame
And I don't even know why.
Was
I don't know
Sesame
why.
Street just one long number station? Was
Brought
that
to
this
you
show
by
brought to you by?
A letter station.
Wait, Sesame Street is over, right?
No.
So you're saying the show broadcasting?
and not only
numbers.
that, but Sesame Street has separate production houses in something like 14 different countries.
And in South America, when the Muppets got AIDS.
Well, one of the Muppets got AIDS in North America.
I mean,
What?
If people,
Did you have sex with the one in South America?
That's the thing, they didn't really go into it.
So let me explain how number stations work, because I don't think most people realize there's different types of number stations. There's number stations where you know you're something, but you don't quite remember, and then you hear these numbers and you remember. And then there's ones where you completely think you're a normal person, you're a citizen, you're doing everything you can, and then these weird series of numbers appear, like on a radio station or somewhere at home or in an email, and you hear it, and suddenly you become a completely different personality, a completely different person. And they beat these numbers into you.
So it's induced schizophrenia?
Yeah, but it's done through torture, and they're constant repeating of these numbers during the torture and what they want you to do, and it's just over and over and over again.
I mean, some of them are more docile, I've heard. They're not like for sleeper agents. They're more like, are you in a certain region? Well, if you are in a certain region and you hear this number station and you're someone who's informed about the codex that you can break it down to, then you can receive your information. What's funny about them is how long they're up for. I mean, some of them have been up for ages, and actually, like some
because of codes,
some old ones have gone down recently, which kind of freaks everybody out real quick.
Because the target's down.
There's always new targets, Mike. There's no ending to the targets.
No, dude. I've been in many.
And that damn dog is always laughing.
I've been to many different retail stores named Target.
Everyone's a Target.
They're all front.
Now those games are interactive fiction based on or potentially
Well, you
interactive.
can save their fiction if you
right.
want.
Now, I mean, there's some clips in Assassin's Creed that go all the way back to the Garden of Eden.
Yes. Okay. So what Assassin's Creed 2 does, Assassin's Creed 1 covers the holy war and a bunch of crap between the Jews and the Muslims and the Christians, which all
Just
happen.
say terrorists.
Okay, the terrorists. Which ones are the terrorists?
All of them.
All
The Christians.
Okay, so three terrorist faction groups.
Okay.
And in Assassin's Creed 2, there's hidden messages throughout the game, and they're actually really difficult to solve, and they're all through a series of puzzles you have to unlock about how, like, Ford screwed over Tesla and stole his inventions and got him killed. Ford and who was that other guy who was disproving AC/DC?
Edison.
Car. Yeah, Edison and Ford, the car maker, they actually destroyed Tesla, who was studying this artifact and getting most of his ideas from it. Destroyed Tesla, got this artifact, and were able to mass produce cars and do all these great things. Edison electrocuted an elephant, which I thought was hilarious. That video exists.
That actually.
Yeah, you all know about that. Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Where was I? I lost my train of
Something
thought.
about AC/DC, Motley Crue.
Yeah. How AC/DC's lead singer died, and another guy came in.
Where am I right now?
And then
Okay, so
then we talk about Nikki Sixx, how he died twice.
Man. You play through the entire Assassin's Creed 2. You're in Florence, Italy. I think it's 1400s. I'm not sure. I forget. And years don't matter anymore. So basically, you go through most of the game and you find these hidden clues, and most of the game seems completely realistic, completely normal, and you figure out that the entire past of humanity just it doesn't exist. It wasn't real. There is no God. There is no religion. There was no Garden of Eden. The church knows this. The government knows this. Basically, the Garden of Eden was this place with the race that came before us, which looked like humans. They created all these artifacts to prevent solar flares from destroying the Earth. They essentially turned chimpanzees, is it, or something, into their form, which became us, so they could interact, because they were by themselves. They didn't have any other species with cognitive intelligence to interact with. We fucked them over. We stole their artifacts. And a solar flare came and basically wiped the Earth clean of almost everything. Some humans survived, these artifacts survived, they survived with the power of these, and these things are completely suggestive. They're kind of like mini number stations. You can activate people at will and make them do things against their will. The Pope knows about this shit. The Pope's staff is one of these artifacts, okay? There's hidden vaults underneath the Vatican with all this shit and technology. I can go on.
So wait, that James Bond lab from the movie Van Helsing, that's real?
Everything's real.
Now,
And nothing is real.
I want to know, what's the deal with all the awesome musicians dying at the age 27?
27? Well,
27.
27 backwards is 72. Didn't I just say that earlier?
And Weird Al? Weird Al has the number 27 that constantly appears in his work. On the cover, Running with Scissors, he's got this, it's like a running outfit. He's got a number pinned to him.
But anything media related is a connection to this.
In the video for Like a Surgeon, there's like a joke about the number of patients they're serving, and it's that number again. There's another number serving joke in the video for the one from Johnny Dangerously. It's
I remember that.
The shit runs deep,
27?
man.
It's 27.
It's 27.
27.
27.
I'll tell you, yeah.
Jimi Hendrix died at 27. Kurt Cobain died at 27.
And what were they preaching? The truth. And the truth is that there is no truth. You should be able to do and say and act any way you want, because why should anyone stop you? Everyone's born into this world the same way. What the hell? It doesn't matter. There's no laws, there's no rules, there's no governments. You can do whatever you want.
Now, those games are preaching the truth. Are there any games that are preaching lies? Are there any conspiracies within the video game industry?
The Sims. Tells you to be a docile human being, get a job, and build a house. Fuck that. So what? You get a wife, you have lots and lots of babies, you kill them all, and you have graves under your house, and they haunt you as ghosts at night.
The reasoning why Weird Al Yankovic has a recurring jokes involving the number 27 is because aluminum has the atomic weight of 27.
Ow.
And it's AL.
Now, I heard ages ago, I'm talking about like when I first got the internet, and I was on the website Alcoholics Anonymous. He said in an interview that he just thought it was a funny number. I think that's interesting that he supposedly came forward with the truth about that.
Truth.
I think it's lies.
Yeah?
I mean, we're told aluminum's atomic weight is 27, but we don't know for a fact. We're just told that. We don't actually know.
Am I gonna have to call up best friend Bob?
I'm just saying.
The goddamn physicist.
Can you prove anything? You're just told things.
He can.
You believe it.
That's science.
Just because you see 27 pop up on a machine don't mean that shit's real.
What does 27 mean, though?
You guys familiar with the reoccurring...
2 + 7, 7 times 2, 9, 11 times 2012.
That's only in a base. That's only in a base 10 system. In any other system, that just crumples down.
I don't have a base. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yo, man, it's only like...
Nicky Six
third base home run for me. That's all. And skip the first two.
Jonna, is there anything you'd like to add?
I've been trying, but I haven't had much to say to all this.
Give me a list of musicians who died at 27.
A lot, actually.
Do you guys know anything about the reoccurring pro-Muslim message inside?
Pro-terrorist.
Okay, I don't want to go there.
God damn it, Mike.
Inside baby toys with babies in them.
I saw something like that.
Familiar with this? Well, let me play a clip.
October, we told you about Fisher-Price's Cuddle and Coo doll with an apparent hidden message. It said, Islam is the light.
Well, now the phrase seems to have been found again, hidden in another popular children's toy.
News 10's Jessica Hayes spoke exclusively with the local mother who made that discovery.
Months ago, Rachel Jones was shocked to discover her 4-year-old's baby doll seemed to have a hidden message. Imagine her surprise when a game for her 8-year-old daughter's Nintendo DS had the same message. Rachel said she bought this Nintendo game, Baby Pals, as a gift for her 8-year-old daughter after a good report card. She had no idea that the game also contained the hidden message, Islam is the light.
We were sitting in the kitchen and she was playing it, and all of a sudden she looked at me and I looked at her and she said, Mom, I think my baby said something. And so I played it back. It says, Islam is the light.
The messages sound exactly the same. The Nintendo game has an E rating, which means it's suitable for any age. In a virtual reality
Unlike
setting, the child
Islam.
playing the game can feed the baby or teach it to crawl, among other things. It's only when the child gives the baby a bath that it repeatedly seems to say Islam is the light. Joan says she's angry. This is the second toy she's had to take from her children.
Not just my daughter's toys, but we have a son too. You know, now I feel like I need to listen to all of his little toys to make sure they're not saying it.
Nintendo's representative said the game is manufactured by a third party, so they're not responsible for the content.
Yeah, no
but the
shit.
game's packaging clearly states the game is licensed by Nintendo.
It still shocks me to think about. I'm like, I can't believe it.
You can decide for yourself whether to buy this toy
Baby
for
doesn't know what
your
he's saying. It's
child.
a baby.
In Knightsville, Indiana, with photojournalist Trevor Keller, Jessica
Okay,
Hayes.
so
basically, these babies are number stations. Sending out,
They're not sending out numbers, though.
they're sending out,
They're just preaching it. They're just mini preachers.
well,
mini Muslim preachers. You make that, you can make
I
that
actually am I'm surprised by how these news articles are painting they're like, but this toy says it's for everyone. It's like, well, okay, it's not supposed to have any religious content in it, except that it's not like you touch the baby and its brain explodes in like a gore festival. That's not. A religion isn't an age-restricted thing, no matter whose it is.
My favorite thing.
The Muslims actually restrict to 18.
My favorite thing was the parents' reaction, going, "Oh my gosh! Now I'll actually have to pay attention to the toys I buy my kids. I didn't think I'd have to do this.
I bought them
What
a toy
the
that
fuck?"
said 100 small, tiny, swallowable parts included. I didn't realize my baby was going to choke on that without supervision.
Listen,
people are stupid.
listen. Your right as an American is to be fat and lazy. That is why I was born in America, because I can be fat and lazy.
You're not
You got
fat.
half of it.
And so,
Hey, don't worry. Someday his metabolism's gonna go and blow up.
His ass is just gonna...
I don't
He's just
need-
gonna lie around going, "Boshuda."
I don't need my Nintendo games telling my children about terrorism. All right, that's 9/11 times infinity. 2012.
Goodbye, international listeners.
None of them are from the Middle East. It's okay.
How do you know?
I'm actually Middle Eastern.
Uh-oh.
Terrorists. Hey, John, we need you to run some numbers.
Well, any other game conspiracies, or should we cut to a song?
We should cut to a song.
Let's cut to a song. I'm gonna cut to a song here. Okay, bye.
Islam is the light.
Dude, all these crazy people.
Yo.
They're crazy.
Is it a
in
sex
me,
dungeon
man.
or like a for real scary
Gets to
dungeon?
a point,
You don't know what to believe anymore.
I
real
don't,
scary.
I don't know what's what. I don't know
Yeah,
what's-
goddamn girls dressed up like ponies. Yeah, ponies and gorillas getting electrocuted. I went to a dark place. Anyway, we're
When I
we're back.
sleepwalk and drink
We're
Mountain
waiting
Dew
for a
and
call
eat
from
Doritos.
Jackson of
So-
Grand Buffet.
Love Grand Buffet. I need to recharge,
Grand Buffet's
man.
amazing. We
Sleeping
played some
is
tracks there in the
exhausting.
past.
So, yeah.
I think
They're
that
one of those,
that diet is why
incredible
you sleepwalk
rapid
and
groups
eat that.
that
It's just a
existed
cycle.
before
You know what?
Nerdcore.
First time I ever saw
Hey,
Grand
dude.
Buffet was opening for Wesley Willis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was the coolest thing. I had no idea what to expect. I'd only
that's
just
fine.
found out about the concert that day. They were the opening band.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
had
no,
my brain
I'm
blown
fine with it.
with raps about Freddy
so
Krueger,
we'll figure it
Grace
out later.
Jones, and
And,
Twix bars.
we'll talk soon.
Yep.
I was sold. It's
10
time.
years ago, kids.
Yeah,
Back when you were 6.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
And a call.
Yeah.
I just want to play Aqualung. The other tunes I've never heard because they don't play them much on the radio, but Aqualung's cool.
Yeah, you want Aqualung? We got Aqualung for you, buddy.
Cool. If you could play like the 2-minute version instead of the 6-minute one, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm here at Miami Subs. Me and the boys are pounding nails in the wall, and we just need to hear some soul, so that'd be awesome. What's up, dude?
Oh man, Jackson, that was the best howdy do I've ever had.
That's how I wish they all would be.
Shit.
Oh man. In a lot of you and Lord Grunge's raps, there's a lot of talk about Illuminati, secret society, different kind of conspiratorial organizations and so on. What are your beliefs in so far as that? I assume you must have some kind of an opinion on the matter since you talk about it so much.
I like to stay open to all possibilities, but I also like to think that people that get into huge positions of power where they're really making big plays, I don't like to think that they're simply sociopaths or that they lose their humanity. It's more interesting a lot of times to think that they're working towards an end that is not our end as humans. And when you kind of get deep into the novels and the websites, and when that's all you're camping on, it all starts to have a synergy about it. But when you pull out, you can start to rationalize why this could have happened instead of sinister reasons. I am now pretty much of the opinion that it's all happening, be it just greedy managers, underground bases, space stations that we don't know about, zero energy. It's all happening because I want it to, almost like it's the closest thing I have as far as faith. Like, I want to know that it is a supremely big world that I live in where there's unlimited adventures. But as far as my instinct, I do definitely think that the dirty end of it, like population control, that kind of makes sense. If you're managing the world and you don't want all this clutter complicating things, you're going to kind of lose your humanity, even if in your own mind it's to benefit humanities. But I can see a lot of the angles, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Anton Wilson novels where he takes a little bit of knowledge and then he throws something in that's satirical or throws something in that kind of makes you question what he just said. I think a lesson to be taken from that is, okay, you know, you can take my word for it and take that as gospel, but I just contradicted myself right here. So keep an open mind, keep your brain rolling, and follow your instinct. Whatever your instinct is based on, you know, like your subconscious, and it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and you can really focus on one thing, whether it's numerology and read into that with everything in your life, or you can try and live a simple life, but it still might rear its head. So it's constantly fascinating, but it's not something that I want to stick my head in all the time, because I'll start to appear like that Michael J. Fox photograph in Back to the Future.
Just fade away.
The layers that I pay attention to, it's the fraternal organizations, Rosicrucians, the Vatican, Jesuits, and then at the high tier, it's the Babysitters Club. So you got to know the way the system's working. It runs deep, this topic, and
does, yeah.
I don't know names to give listeners to steer them in the right direction, because I don't think there is a right direction as far as humans and their views on this stuff, because they'll change their tune, you know, when they run out of money and need to scramble a couple lectures together and say things that people want to hear. It's really hard to find someone that continues to represent, and I can see why cats like Philip K. Dick and folks like that were privy to all of this and were geeks about reading up on it, never really tried to come out with this is how it is.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work that way. When your perceptions change and your life changes because of real life stuff happening, what you thought was real life might change, and it might just turn into like fantasy. And it flip-flops all the time. You know, you put $1 million in my bank account, and I'll dive right back into the fun stuff of like, man, shit, I got unlimited money, so I'm going to try and find an underground base and see what's good.
Marvel just published an adaptation of Electric Ant, the Philip K. Dick book, and it was really trippy because I hadn't read the story before, and I still haven't read the original story, but it's got a lot of elements of Blade Runner in it. The film, not the actual, like, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but the whole, you might be sleepwalking through a reality in a reality that you don't fully understand. What you know is not what is real, and as soon as you question what is real, then reality itself stops existing. And anything can change in a moment's notice.
It's weird because I started reading Philip K. Dick around the time that I started not smoking pot, but eating it in like pesto sauce, you know, and it was always something that I never wanted to abuse, maybe, you know, once here and every now and again. But when you read Philip K. Dick, you get into that same mindset that you do, that like weed paranoia, and you realize that you can go into that at any time. You don't need a drug. It's just thinking a certain way, really thoroughly questioning things. And I think it's a muscle that you can practice, and you can always kind of like get into that when you got time to do so. But with all the great artists, be they writers or filmmakers like Kubrick, who the film Eyes Wide Shut, he was touching on some of the stuff that we're talking about, but he's a guy that went to these big dinners and knew Arthur C. Clarke and knew politicians and knew the people that knew some things that we surely don't know. And it's when they die, right as that happens, it makes you think like, man, what would their next project have been?
Oh, yeah,
and I
seriously.
don't count AI.
Yeah.
I don't count that because Spielberg did his little thing with it.
Mm-hmm.
So have either of you ever heard of Solaris Blue Raven?
No, haven't.
She's interesting on the mind control and rock and roll mix because Rush has a restraining order against her.
Wow.
Because she started writing letters to Neil Peart in the early 80s, and he responded. And, they were friendly, and they built on some metaphysical stuff. And then as, Neil got busy with his career and they got the ball rolling again, she didn't hear from him. And then years later, out of the blue, she was just hanging out around the house, and she started getting images transferred into her mind from somewhere else. And she's open, she's clairvoyant. So she knew what was happening to an extent, but she couldn't quite tell who it was from because they weren't leaving their signature, so to speak. But after a little while, she realized that she was dealing with Neil Peart. And she started communicating with him in symbols and thoughts of words, however they kick it. And something sinister started to happen, and there was a different presence, and it wasn't Alex Lifeson or Geddy Lee, someone else. And she was convinced that it was the road manager who apparently she claims had previous military experience, and he might have been involved in some remote viewing and mind control programs, and he was sharp, and he knew that Neil Peart was adept and that he was gifted not only musically but in all of the creative arts, especially like open link mind kind of craziness. But she's apparently proficient in martial arts, and she had showed up at a couple shows and they got a restraining order against her.
Wow.
So
oh my
it's pretty interesting. Solaris Blue Raven, if you do a little search on that, there's definitely an MK Ultra Survivor video.
Yep.
That I think it's about like an hour.
Yeah,
it's worth checking out. I have her book, which is it's harder to read than Dianetics.
And it's called Transmutation Through Ascension.
Yeah, you got it.
She's Solaris Blue Raven is a celestial being, psychic healer, and renowned author, and upon sending a copy to Neil Peart of the band Rush, was assaulted with an electronic MK Ultra style mind control interrogation program. Miss Blue Raven discusses her story, her court battle, and what being a victim of electronic harassment is all about.
Wow.
It's an hour-long video.
Holy shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love that it was MK Ultra style. Just like old-fashioned style, kettle corn.
Yeah.
Ranchero.
That's awesome. I definitely want to start buying things that are MK Ultra style.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to Chipotle and I'm gonna be like, can I get that MK Ultra style? And they're like, how much mind control do you want? Extra spicy.
So if you had to pick who is Illuminati funded, Qdoba or Chipotle?
Oh, Chipotle.
Well, I don't know because
I'd rather kill myself.
I definitely go with the Chipotle angle because they were at one point owned by McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Qdoba actually tastes good. So I think they're funded by the Illuminati because they actually taste good. Chipotle just gives you bloody diarrhea. I don't think
That sounds like Illuminati to me.
I don't know, Brandon. Everything gives you bloody diarrhea.
Well, yeah, but whatever.
When it comes to Grand Buffet, you guys dropped an album in early 2008, King Vision. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You toured with Girl Talk a whole bunch, and things have been relatively quiet since then.
We pretty much have hung up our tapes until it's time to do it again. I got a ton of songs that I'm just sitting on and fleshing out and trying to find other musicians that can do things more proficiently, like give them my arrangements and hear what they can do with it. That's been difficult. But after King Vision, it was just kind of, what's the next record we would make? Don't want to just go back to making a party album because that's not in me quite yet.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do another concept album. Like, there's tunes that I do here and there that I allot towards, like, I put it under the Grand Buffet hat. So once Grunge and I are ready to do another record, that's when it will be. But I'm trying to put out actual vinyl of my own little thing, and really I want to make that like a cute little boutique project and just put 100% into making a record that I don't get sick of after a couple months. That's my main goal.
So you're moving forward as the Miss Paintbrush persona?
Miss Paintbrush is pretty much the name of the project happening in my room, and it includes all the stuffed animals in my room as band members. So it's not, I'm not having an identity crisis that I'm going to be coming on some transgender styles with the project. My name is not Miss Paintbrush. The name of the project is Miss Paintbrush. And when anyone asks where I got the name, I say, like, oh, that was the name of my my middle school art teacher. And if they ask me a second question, you know, the joke's on them, kind of. So that's what's up with that. I also kind of just ducked out of the conspiracy game because there were so many stars, conspiracy superstars, that were bumming me out, that started to defeat their own purposes, if their purposes were anything beyond just trying to get large, trying to get their own celebrity. It seems like the big five conspiracy stars seem to have gone sour in one way or another.
Well, can we name them without bleeping them?
Alex Jones is, like, he might as well be hired by the WWF. Or WWE, I guess is it called now. Jordan Maxwell, who I still dig, and I always try to listen to what he's up to, seems to be spinning his wheels, and I don't know if it's just because he's been speaking the truth as he feels it over and over, and you know, there's nothing new to add to that, or he's stunted, or that someone's threatening him, or it's really hard to tell. Then, what's his name? Jeff Rentz. I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Rentz.
I'm not. Most of these names are actually all pretty new to me. I'm looking at Jordan Maxwell's website, though. He has a twinkling star background and a font that I'm very into. And sexual symbolism in world religions, astrotheology.
That's his bread and butter, is astrotheology. That's where he can really go on, and it's quite fascinating. Like, I highly
where the gods are
listen to some of his lectures. They're a blast to listen to, but some of the people he keeps company with have some curious stuff going on. But the Jeff Rentz website, it was always a good mixed bag resource, but there's so much just anti-Semitism and a lot of, like, creeping Aryan pride stuff going on with it. So that's creepy.
Something Brian asked was whether or not astrotheology is where aliens are the gods.
Yes,
that's what
more
is.
To an extent. But what is more interesting, and you don't even have to believe in the whole alien part of the story, is that the holy books are the story of the House of Stars, and if you read into it, it's pretty thorough, from the crucifixion of Jesus and how that coincides with the solstices, the 12 houses, the 12 disciples, all of that stuff that is fascinating, and definitely worth looking into. Because when you start to question that, what you also have to question is organized religion. And it's like, do any of these people at the top really buy the stuff? It's like the Pope is covered with so much pagan symbolism at any given time, and he flaunts gold all damn day around beggars, which was definitely not Jesus's MO.
Yeah, seriously.
There's nothing Christ-like about the Vatican or the Jehovah's Witness and all that. So you got to figure out, well, what's their motivation here? You know, and 9 times out of 10, it's making money off of suckers.
I completely fucking agree with that.
We talked to a woman earlier, Lanaia Lee, and something she was talking about that tags back to a lot of this is that, one, Atlantis is real. It's totally real. It happened. It was run by aliens.
As was other megastructures such as the pyramids and the Great Wall of China.
And that the Aryan race came from Atlantis.
That got weird.
That did get weird.
Yeah.
And she didn't really have a good explanation for that either. She just kind of went in a different direction.
Something about giants.
Yeah, something about, like, the Nazis thought that Aryans were giants, and I was like, oh?
The Supermen, who Crowley and the Order of the Golden Dawn and the Fool Society, which the Nazis were kind of based a lot of their theology off of. I might be pronouncing it wrong. I think it's Fool, not Thule.
She did name drop.
She did, and which then we went to Zool, and then things just got Ghostbusters-y.
As they tend to.
Yeah.
But it was Goebbels, Himmler. No, it was Himmler that seemed to really be the guy that was, you know, running with his wildest dreams. He thought he was possessed by the spirit of previous Himmler, who was a great Aryan warrior, and he was trying to fulfill that whole thing. But the Supermen that apparently were located under a mountain in Tibet, that's where the monks, or the dark monks, that focused on negative energy, or what some people call Vril, V-R-I-L energy. That's like a whole part of it. You'll come across a conspiracy about in the bunkers after the Nazis were bombed out and Hitler blew his brains out or ran away or whatever happened there. There were apparently Tibetan monks found there, which would make a great movie.
Seriously?
That's been underrepresented in films. It's like my frustration with movies like that Nick Cage movie and the Tom Hanks movie is that they aren't throwing in all the spicy stuff that they could.
It's so true.
You know?
Brian does a book of alternate history called Atomic Robo. Brian, are you hip to any of this stuff with the monks and the Supermen?
Not the monks, no.
Well, Vril.
Yeah, when you said that word, I thought of Vril Dox.
Yeah, same here.
Well, here's the history on Vril. In 1871,
The writer who gave us the phrase "dark and stormy night," it's the same guy who came up with
Raymond
this name,
Bernard.
the Vril.
Wow.
He wrote a book about Hollow Earth, and that science fiction novel that kind of inspired the Vril is meant to be this ethereal.
It's like
energy.
the Force.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like orgone energy.
But even better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tesla thought of utilizing this Vril, and that's how he got the idea of wireless transmission and wireless energy.
Oh, wow.
That, in turn, how in the 40s and 50s where people refer to the ether, how radio is a part of the ether. Well, that's what Vril turned into.
But isn't Vril...
Essentially, this was a very early science fiction book that was so early as a piece of science fiction that the society at large wasn't equipped to understand what science fiction was. Many, many, many people took this to be a literal, actual history.
Right.
Because it was also kind of written as if it were one.
And even scientists like Tesla kind of took it as, well, maybe there's something to learn in this.
Jeez.
Well, isn't Vril...
So yeah, Vril was very influential on Nazism.
And so
especially because the people who live under the earth, who have the power of the Vril, in this story of the book, eventually one day they're going to just spill out into the surface world because they need more room, because they are superior. They can just take it from us because they deserve it. Which obviously, if you think about it for about 3 seconds, plays in directly into Nazism and, breathing room, living space, whatever you want to call it. It was very attractive to them as a philosophy, as a mythology.
Now, it's not outwardly mentioned that the name Vril Dox, the Brainiac 2 character in DC, is inspired by this, but anyone who is a sci-fi buff knows of Vril and would go, oh, that's a cool first name for
Brainiac's son to have.
Very cool name indeed. I mean, Wilhelm Reich, you were talking about Organon.
Yeah.
His fate definitely can open up a whole can of conspiracy worms.
Yeah, Wilhelm Reich, for listeners, was the guy who conceptualized orgone energy, which is an energy that we all have that if we keep inside of our bodies can better ourselves, and I believe can also alter weather. And he created a machine which he called a cloud buster, which Kate Bush has a brilliant song about. And
starring Donald Sutherland in the video.
Oh yeah,
and the video is directed by Terry Gilliam's second in command because Terry himself couldn't direct it.
That video is so good.
Like in the video and in the song and in the book by Willem Reich's son, you see that Willem Reich, because of this crazy thing with the energy and the cloudbuster and everything, was actually abducted by the American government and hushed.
And was pretty much starved in a jail cell.
What I don't really know about is really what he did to push their buttons.
I think he was growing a fan base that happened to include a lot of scientists that were coveted by the military. It turned into like, we want these guys. If you got them interested in your weird goings-ons, then, you know, that's going to complicate things because it's hard finding geniuses. That's one thing. I don't have a definitive answer on that, but he definitely, he rubbed them the wrong way. Because, yeah, I mean, they meant business with that dude. And I think that energy is one of the reoccurring things from every single area of this whole conspiracy, except for, like, maybe the Christian Patriots. They don't get into that stuff. Like, with the whole reptilian thing, I don't know if you guys are up on that.
No.
Be it, like,
enlighten us.
David Icke or more kind of New Agey cats or just straight up UFO folks. Their whole thing is that the superior race that is reptilian in its appearance but also humanoid has been running the show for centuries. And they don't reveal themselves because that would screw things up for their program. So they might be the ones running the show. These underground bases, you'll hear stories. There's that famous one in Dulce, New Mexico, named Phil Schneider. Apparently, he was privy to this top secret clearance, but apparently went down one floor beyond his clearance. It opens up, boom, 7-foot alien just chilling with some humans. He's like, whoa, what's going on? Shots are fired. And apparently this alien technology blew off or melted off 3 of his fingers, I think including his thumb. You guys might want to Google that and watch the video. The dude's name is Phil Schneider.
Whoa.
It's something to watch. I don't know where I stand on it. But anyhow, this energy, they are operating in a dimension, most people say the 4th dimension. And it's our fear, our anger, our darkest energy gets us vibrating low. And that's when they can kind of magnetize us. You know, you could picture us tuning more towards their channel on a radio dial when we're doing all, you know, the acts of war and, I don't know, like unconsensual sodomy that is used in rituals and you know, that type of stuff, that we're getting closer to them and they can access our energy and they feed off it, you know, no different than we with supplements or blood transfusions or something like that. But that's a reoccurring thing, and it's not just a David Icke thing. He although he very much co-opted it and kind of made it his big thing.
That is really heavy.
It doesn't stop getting heavy, but there's this stuff as a guy who needs humor in his life that keeps me coming back. One off the top of my head is you get the MK Ultra celebrities. one of my favorites is that the biggest area years ago was country music, and the kingpin was Boxcar Willie.
I've heard
who
that
was
name.
Like, she's an E-grade country star. Then you get into one of my favorites is this woman that was apparently MK Ultra, and she told the story of Chris Christopherson trying to strangle her with his penis.
We all have had that happen, right?
That's a constant fear.
He didn't say. Some of us can only dream.
Oh my god.
But I wonder if he ever related that to Wesley Snipes, and that's why Wesley Snipes got in trouble with the IRS. He knew too much, and he wasn't going to cross over and join their team. But anyhow, that's a great one. It's very important nowadays to know your history on that stuff, because with this Jay-Z, Kanye, Rihanna, Illuminati stuff, you have a large group that were not into it before that are getting into it, like a lot of I would say R&B fans that are also sturdy Christians are getting into this now because they're starting to see anti-Christian stuff, and you've got these Christian patriots that are kind of like kicking a little game to them, and they're like, okay, all right. So, and now they're reading into symbolism. So if someone has a skull on their shirt in a hip-hop video, or they're throwing up the horns, you know, whether that's them just trying to, like, get ill, like, you know, a rock video, or whatever their reason is, you've got these people reading into it. Crazy stuff is just kind of like dim-witted pyramids and some masonry speak here and there, like in that tune with Rihanna and Kanye. He talks about squaring the circle and, you know, Masonic speak. That is what that is. Some of the fun stuff is the Prodigy from Mobb Deep. The dude Prodigy wrote a letter in all caps from prison that talked about their elder in the neighborhood in Brooklyn where they came up, who I think has a bunch of pedophilia charges against him. So that might mean he was on to something and there was a smear campaign, or he's really just on some screwy stuff. Prodigy outs Jay-Z in this letter as knowing the light but choosing the dark side, and just said he was kind of like an empty soul. But with Kanye, I think so much of his thing, he's all style, and he has much better taste as far as visuals and sonics, for that matter, than Jay-Z might now. So, like his Power video teaser, you have the women coming down with the swords that form a pyramid right above Kanye's head. You got a lot of fun stuff, but it's like, how much of that is Kanye being bred for the Illuminati, and how much of it is him watching Craymaster cycle on acid too many times?
Well, they don't direct their own videos. Don't they usually have a director that comes up with that type of stuff?
Not Kanye. No. Kanye, he is very specific about what...
Well, that means that Chris Milk must be... I mean, Chris Milk is the guy who's done the most Kanye videos that I know of, at least.
But Kanye has a lot of influence on what goes on in his stuff.
Okay.
I know that much. And I also know...
Kanye, he saw... I forget the name of the artist that did his Power video, but it's modeled after a project that director created that was an internet phenomenon in the art world and the blog world. Like, it's incredible. It pretty much shows, like, the levels of heaven and hell. You might have seen it.
Yeah, no, I saw it.
It's beautiful. It's this scrolling video of computer animation of all this stuff happening, and it kind of ascends. But it's beautiful, and Kanye saw that, or his style minions hipped into it, and he was like, all right, that dude, he's doing my next video. So it's hard to tell with that dude.
We were talking about the Paul is dead conspiracy.
What's interesting about that is that, you know, okay, you can look at the pictures of before and after the supposed car wreck that he died in, that they intimated at on Magical Mystery Tour, but the main thing is you have to assume that there is always a secret branch within the CIA of, like, amazing songwriters and musicians that can pretty much just slide into the biggest band in the world.
Have you seen the CIA budget, my friend?
I understand that, and that is the one thing that makes that whole conspiracy at all possible, is that they could have invested in just a blank slate of a human that had super learning capabilities.
No, they did a cost analysis on this, and they actually had a room of 1,000 monkeys at 1,000 guitars.
And they all could play.
The thing is, like, I think John Lennon had the balls that he would have come clean about that before he got iced by Jared Leto.
If he isn't.
What?
If he is in fact dead, which I don't believe Lennon is actually dead.
Nor Jared Leto.
They're the same guy.
The one thing that stumped me was in your email, you were talking about number stations.
Yeah.
Do you know much about that?
Well, I know that around World War I, number stations started popping up on shortband radio. No government has ever identified or commented on them in any sort of serious way. Except that recently, a few years back, there was I think a Cuban number station. They're someone reading a series of numbers. There's usually some kind of vocal signifier, like a certain phrase or some kind of melody that signifies when the message starts and ends. And it's some kind of code that lets spies know something, whatever they need to know for that region.
Or brainwashed sleeper agents.
Or activate sleeper agents.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to
Or
do.
all of the above.
Yeah.
I would like to think that it's like a constant coded checklist for baseball card shop dealers to like see what the movement is on their Mark McGwire cards.
Before or after steroid use?
Yes.
Yeah, well, whether he's going to get off the hook, you know what I mean, and they're just going to like own up to, yes, steroids are right for Major League Baseball, and then his cards will go up in price.
Yes,
which I still have. I have a bicycle, a computer, and Mark McGwire rookie cards, and that's everything that I have in this world of like any value.
And Tom McFarlane's baseball is going to go through the roof. That's the baseball player, right?
Tom McFarlane?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Canadian baseball player.
Yeah.
But over there they call it old sticky ball.
Sticky ball, huh?
Yeah.
That's what I had last night.
We're going to go into a track now, Only the Good Cy Young. It's a track of yours, a solo track, originally from a compilation called Unicorn Mountain Number 2, I believe. This is the version with the new vocals that you laid down just for us. And it's got
mid-breakfast, man. I was eating my 7 grains with maple syrup and peanut butter and doing these raps.
It's so good. The energy in this version, I'd say the Nerdy Show version of Only the Good Cy Young is the preferable version.
Cool. It's an exclusive. You guys can destroy it after you play it.
We'll burn it, copy the files to a disc, and we will set the disc on fire.
About from me to this elderly woman here in the front was sitting a 7-foot-tall alien gray. The stench was worse than the worst garbage can you can imagine. I killed 2 of them. Yes, they're mortal and they do die. However, in the process, all I remember is that he just kind of waved his hand in front of his chest, and the next thing I know, this blue beam hit me and just literally opened me up like a fish. Burnt my fingers right off of me, burned all my toenails off of me, completely crispy crittered my left foot. 66 Secret Service agents, Green Berets, Black Berets, crack troops lost their lives because the government, our United States government, lied, did not tell us anything about the alien threat. Since late August of 1979, the militaries of the world have been in constant conflict with the outer space alien. The small gray, the large gray, the reptilians. There are 11 distinct races of aliens. 2 are benevolent. 1 had to leave here in a hurry because their world is under attack, both on the surface as well as underground there, the Pleiadians. Maybe some of you are familiar with that. Would some of you raise your hands? Oh, very good. About half the group.
What can I say, guys? It's been a journey. This has been nothing.
Fuck, dude, that's too much information.
I clearly should have worn some tinfoil on my head because I feel wiped out.
Yeah, I am beat, dude. All these crazy people putting their crazy in me, man.
I mean, you get to a point you don't know what to believe anymore.
I don't know what's what. I don't know what's real. Is this even happening?
Oh, that's usually what wakes me up at night. Sleepwalking.
When I sleepwalk and drink Mountain Dew and eat Doritos. I need to recharge, man. Sleeping is exhausting.
I think that it's that diet is why you sleepwalk to then eat that. It's just a cycle. And you know what? Those companies which produce those extremely delicious corn chips of delicious varieties,
dude,
and that delicious fizzy sugar water,
God,
brainwashes you, man.
I could eat some right now. I need some right now.
Definitely a change of pace from last Nerdy Show Prime episode.
Dude.
But that's just what you can expect from Nerdy Show Prime is the unexpected.
The unexpected.
And seriously, we're not trying to go for this like paranormal tip exactly. It just kind of happens. We're just I don't know, a gateway, a portal to another world, to Outworld.
Stargate?
Oh, jeez, that's a whole kettle of fish that we didn't even remotely open. We should get John on the show if we're going to talk about Stargate. He's watched every single episode of all of those series.
Yeah, but sometimes you know how John gets. He'll start talking like we know what he's talking about, and we won't know.
This is true. It's because there's too much science in his brain.
That's weird, dude. I've got a lot of porn in my brain.
I mean, maybe that's what's going to happen to us now that we've, I don't know, talked to all these people and encountered all these things. I mean, really, this sort of stuff, both preposterous and otherwise, it puts the fear in you. It gives you the doubt and the uncertainty. And it's exciting, but, you know, it's also dangerous. Because all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're living your life on the lam like the CFC guy. Conspiracy theory? Oh, seriously.
Oh, yeah. That makes me want to kill people.
Oh, fun. Yeah, after many episodes of his where he's been disappeared and he's replaced by Agent Doggett, and then we bring him back.
Bring him back for the season finale.
And his series finale.
Series finale. It'd be me and Scully in the bed at the end. Spoiler alert.
You know what I just got? I finally did it.
Really?
I got all of the X-Files. It was on sale on Amazon for over 50% off.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Was it like Black Friday or?
It was post Black Friday.
What does that mean?
It was like a sale that wasn't on Black Friday after Black Friday. I don't know. It comes with trading cards, I think from the 90s, a reprint of the comic book from the 90s put out by Topps, a poster, and the movie, the first one. That is a good show. But hey, I had enough idle chit-chat. I'm sure you're as exhausted as we are. So, Nerdy Show will return again. We can assure you of that. But anything else, well, that's just left up to your imagination. Thank you for listening. I'm Cap.
Triforce Mike.
Hex and Brandon were abducted by aliens earlier in the episode.
Wait. I didn't even notice they were gone. It's like the perception filter was on. Uh-oh.
What is a perception filter?
It's Doctor Who. It's how...
But on your website, should have worn some tinfoil on my head. Just I feel like logic. I perceive it shouting. Yeah. I went to a dark place. Sleeper. When I walked, yeah, this is gonna be a cycle. I mean, Vicar Festival. Goddamn time ago. I don't know what year it was.
Thanks for listening. Nerdy Show. Nerdy Show is brought to you by Comic Shop, Nerdpalooza, Bacon, Eggs, Cup of Coffee. Listeners like you, I guess. I got some ketchup and hot sauce over here. 2 creams. If you enjoyed what you heard, support Nerdy Show by telling a friend, picking up some merch in Nerdy Store, donate directly, receive some perks. Hey, you know, it's hard work. It's just, you know, yeah, it's hard work, and they're Americans. They're American boys. For more episodes, if you want more episodes of that, you can go to Nerdy Show, Dungeons and Doritos, all that stuff, you know. Basically, you can subscribe to it in this thing they call iTunes Store. It's on the computer. I don't Wi-Fi. I don't even know what that is. You know, they got those things, you know, like Twitter, and they got Facebook, Tumblr. Oh, hey, thanks, darling. If you want to talk to me on the Nerdy Show forums, I go there. I'm Big Dick 47. It's also my handle on the CB radio. You look me up sometime. I drive through this part of town a lot. Look, I got a wife, I got a kid, but they don't, you know, it's on the road, rules of the road, right? So maybe look me up a little bit later, right?
All right, here's the number.
Yes.
320, because it's 320 somewhere. 2823.
It's always 3:20 somewhere.
What?
That's the hour before you start smoking weed.
Yeah.
You're just getting really pumped.
Hello?
Hi, is this Kiba?
No, this is Wendy.
Do you know anybody named Kiba? I'm from a website that gave me this number.
What website?
It was 43 Things.
I do know somebody named Tequila, but this is not her number.
Oh no, it's Kiba. I also go by the handle KingWolf69.
Oh, no.
No.
I have no idea then.
Okay, jeez, they gave me the wrong number then. I'm terribly sorry about this.
That's okay.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Uh-huh.
Damn you, Kiba!
Well, she's always one step ahead.
King Wolf 69.
I was like, I do have another number for Kiba. It's the one we called last time. But Kiba gave me a bogus number.
Why would he do that?
I don't know.
I think it's a she.
I don't know. King
Why
Wolf.
would a she be King Wolf?
Oh, that's a good point.
All right, then fuck Kiba.
Why not?
We're done with Kiba.